All right, everybody, welcome in to the Rant with me, Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. We do this every day, round about noon. Talk radio the way it's supposed to be. Talk radio for normal people. That's how I like to call it. Talk radio for normal people. Okay, just if you're normal. What is normal? You're not 15% crazy on the right. The 15% on the right with their hats and their JFK Jr. is still alive, gone forever. Can't deal with them. Don't want you listening. Get out of here. 15% on the left. Wait, right, left, yeah. 15% on the left. Same thing with your torch and Tesla dealerships and your, you got a dick, you can pee wherever you want. Just weird stuff. If you're in the 15 on the right and the 15 on the left, get out. I don't want you here. This show is for the 70% of us that are normal people. Some of us vote right. Some of us vote left. Some of us consider ourselves red, some blue, some purple, most of us somewhere in the middle. And that's who this talk radio show is for. The majority of us, which I don't understand why talk radio in this country doesn't seem to have any interest in pursuing that giant chunk, that potential demographic. But, if you want talk radio in this country, all you get is crazy far right-wing bullshit, okay? Far crazy left-wing bullshit. I suppose we should be happy about this. That's never been able to survive on radio because that violates, all of the tenets of common sense. So they've leaned into the angry 55-year-old white man driving to the country club. That's what talk radio is for. That's the only fucking person they want listening. If you're a Mexican dude, fuck you. They don't want you listening. They want white dudes in their town cars on the way to the country club. That's the only people. This is for the others. This is for the rest of us, normal folks. Yeah, I'm a white dude who'd love to drive a town car to a country club, but that shit doesn't appeal to me. Too one-sided. So we do this every day for 3 years. Every day we get here and we talk about the world from a perspective that I think is lacking. Let's say hi to the chat room. We got Barney in the chat room. We got Jeff in the chat room. We got Peter in the chat room. We got the Sports Bras in the chat room. Seth is in the chat room. Taranda's in the chat room. Everybody's here. This kind of show doesn't have any sponsors or anything. We run on your gratuity. So if you feel so inclined to support this experiment and talk conversation, drop a little something in the Venmo, drop a little something in the Cash App. That'd be great. Barney's got a new avatar. Barney's got a new picture. Don't know who that is. It's too small from where I'm sitting. I can't really see. Kind of looks like a Grizzly Adams deal. I don't think that's Barney. We'll investigate further. The show will unfold in 4 quarters. It is performed by yours truly as a stream of consciousness. It's just a narcissist, me, a big, fat, dumb 55-year-old guy going blah, blah, blah into a camera. No breaks, no stops. We don't play songs. We don't do commercials, no live reads. It's just me, extemporaneously speaking in a stream of consciousness manner. Now, in order to not spin off into the weeds, we break the show down into 4 quarters, so I always know where I'm going to next. The first quarter, we call that antecedently on this day. That's this day in history. It's all just I cherry pick some things from this day and we talk about them a little bit at the start of the show. Quarter 2 is birthdays. Birthdays is awesome. People having birthdays. Do we like them or do we not? Quarter 3 is deads, people who died on this day. Where'd they go? Did they go to heaven or did they go to hell? And then quarter 4 is everything. Quarter 4 is all the stuff that's happening today. The headlines, the stock market, the tariffs, Tesla commercials in the driveway. I see Peter in the chat room. Peter's a little distracted from everything that's happening in this world because he's obsessed with the college basketball tournament. Nothing wrong with that. As Al Capone once said, we all need enthusiasms, and Peter has his. I can't. It's not time yet. When are they announcing the tournament? This weekend? I think that's when I'll break out. Monday morning, I'll break out my ballot with absolutely zero information because I've watched no college basketball this year. I'll get into it. I'll get into it next week. I'll get into it when it starts. It's how I always do college basketball. It's like I don't consider the regular season to be the real season. What's the point of the regular season? Just 64, 62. What is it, 68, 78? What is the number now in the tournament? It used to be 62, I think. Or was it 64? Whatever. My whole life it was one number, and now it's like I don't know. Peter's got enthusiasms. That's good. That's good. Barney is saying his new avatar is actually just him. One more time, I want to note we have an executive producer on today's show. Today's show has an executive producer. Every day, the person who tips the most the previous day gets to be the executive producer. Today is no different. Our executive producer, notice how he said that weird. Our executive producer is, for second day in a row, Peter. Peter wants to talk basketball. He's the executive producer. We'll talk basketball. How's Gonzaga doing? I like Gonzaga because it's a fun word to say. Other than that, I'm a U of I guy. I'm a go Illini. I like Big Ten. I like Big Ten. I like Illini. I like Big Ten basketball. I like Indiana. Yeah, I know. Even with Bobby Knight, I was an Indiana fan, except when they played Illinois. I like Purdue. I like the Big Ten teams. I do. Notre Dame, of course. I go back to the Orlando, Woolridge, Digger Phelps, Kelly Tripucka days with Notre Dame. That was formative for me. I like 12 years old. Like basketball, Irish people could play basketball. And then I saw Orlando, Woolridge. And I'm like, oh, so you don't have to be Irish to go to Notre Dame? I thought everybody was Irish. I thought that was a prerequisite. Peter says the Zags won their tournament last night. The Zags would be Gonzaga. See, stops being fun when you just call them the Zags. That's not fun. It's Gonzaga. I like that word. Rainy Days is here. Rainy Days is saying howdy, y'all. Howdy, Rainy Days. Peter's willing to be our update correspondent for anything and everything NCAA basketball. That's fine. That's fine. Probably end up fighting it out with Cece from the Sports Bras. Maybe even Adam. Adam seems like he might be into it. Peter says NIU is going good. I love Marquette. I like Marquette too. Marquette Warriors. Are they still the Warriors or did they have to change? Because that's not I don't know. Doc Rivers. Al McGuire. You kidding me? I can go way back with Marquette. I'm sure Peter can go that far too. Hi, Leslie. Leslie C is in the chat room. Welcome. We started a little early today, so small talk segment going to be a little bit longer. All right, seeing a story about Spotify here. Spotify claims that they've paid. It doesn't matter. Spotify's claiming they're paying big money in royalties. I love Spotify. I pay my whatever it is every month for Spotify, and I will tell you, I will never not pay that for Spotify. Spotify has become, if music is important to you, like if as a part of you just waking up in the morning and getting going, if music, culturally speaking or emotionally speaking, plays a big role in your life, Spotify. Don't mess around with Pandora. I fucked around with Pandora in the beginning, and I was like, no, Pandora's the way. And then I found Spotify. Spotify's incredible. Nobody knows me quite like Spotify. I swear to God, I would marry my Spotify account. My Spotify account is like, hey, you know what I think you're in the mood for? I think you're in the mood for this song. A deep cut from David Bowie, 1976. And then they play it for me, and I'm like, God damn it, Spotify. You always know what I'm in the mood for. That was incredible. I love Spotify. What is Spotify getting hammered because artists are like, yeah, we're not making enough money. They seem to be on the defensive. A story. Spotify claiming they paid over $10 billion in royalties. Destroyed music radio. I don't know how music radio walks around in this world. I don't understand it. Who is listening to Kiss? Who is listening to music on the radio? Who in 2025 is sitting there in their car going, boy, I'm going to sit through this commercial break and really hope that a song I like comes on next? Nobody. Nobody. Nobody does that. My son thinks radio is absurd. He thinks radio is fun because he likes to put on a music station and decide, like, do I like this song or not? Like, basically judging it against Spotify, which will always offer a song that he likes. He's like, Spotify knows me, Dad. I'm like, I know. Spotify, that algorithm. Shit that I haven't even thought about in 40 years. Spotify will be like, I bet this one's going to resonate with you. Haven't heard this in a while, have you? And I'm like, no, I haven't. Thank you, Spotify. Who Who knew that I was in the mood to hear some Ace of Base? Spotify, that's who. All right, so get off Spotify's back. I don't give a shit. Spotify is like one of the greatest innovations in music. It's music on demand. It's every song that's ever been recorded. Any song that you could possibly want to hear, you just go to Spotify and you put it in and it comes up and you can listen to it. And because I'm paying my monthly fee, I don't have to feel like I'm doing anything illegal. Spotify. Marty says he prefers Pandora for music and Spotify for podcasts. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I like the playlists on Spotify. I like being able. I think the playlists on Spotify that other people make that are suggested to me are better than the algorithm that Pandora uses to just throw me my next song. You know, they're like, hey, I bet you like this. The Pandora algorithm's very good. And I used to think it was the best, but then I found Spotify. I'm like, no, Spotify's even better. Sports Bra says I need to put my podcast back on Spotify. Is that important? I mean, look, Jesus, look at Mr. Podcast Guy, right? I should know this. I think good podcasts that develop a fan base in the early stages, I think they can grow without Spotify. I think it's important. I don't know. I mean, it's got to be there. It's got to be in the places where people look. That's the game. That's the game. You've got to anticipate where people are going to be looking for your content, and you got to put it there. Spotify, put it on everything. I know at Radio Misfits, we put it on everything. It's on everything. Everything's everywhere. All right. Let me say we get started. There was something I wanted to talk about. I don't remember what that is. I had a great small talk segment. I don't know what it is. Okay, so we'll do this. Hey, sometimes I get on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook a lot. I'm mostly on the old Blue Sky and Twitter. Those are my stomping grounds. If you want to follow me, Pugs Moran, just Google Pugs Moran. You'll find all of my handles. You can find me there. But Facebook, I was on Facebook today, and it brought up a picture. I love that. Facebook does some things well. Facebook is always, there if I need to know which friends' birthdays I've missed. Because I'll always go back in the birthdays you've missed. And I'm like, yeah, well, that one blew that one. Probably should have told her happy birthday. They're good for that. Facebook is good for that. But also I like the Facebook memories thing. You know how Facebook is like, on this day, 20 years or whatever it is, right? So Facebook memories put up a thing today that I loved. I was like, oh my God, I remember that day. It's a picture that I posted probably 12 years ago. Maybe 12, 13 years ago, because the kid is so small. But I talk about this a lot, how my son learned to walk on the grassy knoll, the famous grassy knoll, where Kennedy was assassinated, right? Where the shooters were. That's where my kid learned how to walk up and down a hill. You stumble up and down the grassy knoll. We used to walk the dog there and all that. That my dog used to poop on the grassy knoll. I always cleaned it up because I'm an American. And I understand the importance of American historical landmarks. So I always cleaned up after. But I got this picture. I love this picture. I want to show this picture because not so much because, it's a picture of the kid on the grassy knoll in a snowstorm, which is rare in Dallas. But I want the dog. I want to show you the dog. All right, look at this. All right, here we go. This is a picture. This is on the grassy knoll. You see the kid. I made it so you can't really see the kid's face and the mom's face. Mom didn't sign up for this. As a matter of fact, she quite explicitly signed up to not be a part of this when we got divorced. So, respecting mom there. But I want to talk about the dog. Look at that dog. That was a majestic animal. That is Blue. She is my Husky Timberwolf hybrid. And the reason I want to show you this picture. Okay, I'll show you. I'll make the picture a little bit bigger so you can get some perspective on it. All right, there's a little face. All right. So we're taking this picture. It's one of the rare snowstorms here in Dallas. And we're over on the grassy knoll there at Dealey Plaza. And I'm like, all right, let me get this picture. So I get mom and son there. He's wearing his Pittsburgh Steelers snowsuit. That's right. It wasn't my call. It was a friend of the family. He's a big Pittsburgh Steeler fan. So he bought him a Pittsburgh Steelers snowsuit thinking we'd never use it. And then we got a snowstorm and he's out there in a picture in a Pittsburgh Steelers snowsuit. Anyway, point is this. Look at this fucking dog. This dog is so badass. This dog, from the moment this kid was brought home, this dog was like, all right, that's my job. My job is to make sure that nobody comes near this kid. So look at the dog. The kid is facing the camera. The mom is facing the camera. The dog is being good. And if you've tried to pose a dog for pictures, you know that that's kind of difficult because they don't really sit still. This dog is dialed in. There is like probably somebody walking on the ground. Look at this dog. Look at the hair. The hair on this dog is all up. The tail is down. She is dialed in. She is like, you come near this kid and I'm going to get you. I love that dog. That dog is great. Look at the protective nature of this animal. Oh my God. All right. 12 years ago. 12 years ago, the big Dallas snowstorm. Hi, Frankie. Frankie's in the chat room. Frankie says, I love dogs. We don't deserve them. I get the sentiment. Thank God we do have them. Dogs. We love dogs, but it's because we project all these human qualities onto them that I don't know that is accurate. Like, I know that my dog, CeeLo, let's talk about the great CeeLo, okay? I know that if somebody broke into my house in the middle of the night, that CeeLo would die tearing that person apart, all right? I also know that if the person broke into my house carrying a bag of hamburgers from McDonald's, that the dog would just not give a fuck about killing the guy and would only want the hamburgers. That's the truth of our animals. I know we project that, no, they are loyal to us and they love us. Nah, they're as loyal as their next cheeseburger. That's how CeeLo is. CeeLo would sell out her entire family for a cheeseburger. It probably not even a cheeseburger, for a fucking half-eaten chicken wing. She'd be like, I'll suck that bone. No, you can kill these people. Just let me suck on that chicken wing bone. Is there still buffalo sauce on it? I'll suck on that. Yeah. Anyway, Peter says dogs help us stay grounded. CeeLo is a good girl, he adds. I appreciate you saying that, and that's nice because you know I love her, but she's not a good girl. She's not a good girl. She's a bad girl. She's a bad dog who complicates the situation by absolutely loving the 6 people in her life that she is cool with. There are 6 people in the world that CeeLo loves, and she will sleep on their bellies and she'll cuddle with them in the middle of the night, and she doesn't want to leave their side. And if they get up, she'll move and walk with them. She is in love with 6 people. Everybody else she hates. She's not a good dog. Oh my God. This morning, I swear to God, I almost killed her this morning because a giant poodle comes walking down the street and they're eyeballing each other. You know how this happens when one side of the street, other side of the street. CeeLo's eyeballing this big giant black poodle, and the black poodle's eyeballing her, and they're being quiet. And then the poodle has the nerve to go at CeeLo, which, forget about it. Now my dog's going insane, pulling. She's on the harness. The dog has to be walked with 2 leashes, okay? That's what kind of an asshole she is. She has to have a full body harness because she's so strong that you have to be able to control her torso instead of just her neck. So you got to be able to control the torso, and she's going nuts. And then she's got a second. This morning, I had to go, come on! Oh, God, she's so bad. But we love her. We love our dogs because, they seem to love us. Or at least they love that we feed them and walk them when they want to go out. We got a lot of stuff to get to today. Peter talking about Gracie. He says Gracie's a bad girl, but gets away with it because she's a good girl. Yeah, I know how that is. We all know how that is. Dogs. I've had good dogs. I always say that. They promise you that when you die in heaven, that the first person you see is your dog's gonna come running at you. I'm gonna have 10 dogs coming at me, and like I say, they ain't all gonna get along. They're gonna fight, man. There ain't no way. That dog I just showed you, Blue, there ain't no way that Blue and CeeLo are getting along. No chance. They're both aggressive women. They're both just, I don't know who I'd take in that fight. I don't know who I'd take, because I saw my dog Blue take a coyote down. I had to kill the coyote. I had to drop a giant cinder block on its head because it was just, I wasn't taking the coyote to the vet. Okay. We were in the woods. That was rough. Peter says, I never had a bad dog. Well, that's the thing about bad dogs. We don't have them for long. I've had a couple bad dogs. I've had a couple as a kid growing up. I've had a couple, 18-month dogs where, they get 18 months and then it's just like, no, we can't have this one. Hold on. Yeah, we'll play in the chat room. Why not? People got questions in the chat room. We can do this. Sports Bros CC has a question. Says, have you seen the story of the Ghost Adventures guy's wife hired a hitman to try and off him? No. I haven't seen that story. That sounds like a fun story. Here, I thought it was a dog thing. All right, not a dog thing. Humble brag. I don't know. Is that a humble brag? I don't know. Why, beautiful canine. CeeLo's pretty fucking ugly, if I'm being honest. She's pretty ugly. She's got spots, teeth. Her teeth are too big for her face so that their fangs always hang out. She looks kind of like Snagglepuss, is what I'd say. See, Blue, the Husky Timberwolf, was gorgeous. That dog was a showstopper. People were like, whoa, that dog, what is that? That's not a husky. I'm like, it's a husky hybrid. CeeLo's weird. My son, my 15-year-old son, says that CeeLo is so ugly, she's beautiful. He's like, look at her. She's so ugly. She's beautiful. I know. She's like Lauren Hutton. You guys remember the supermodel, Lauren Hutton? She was like so ugly. She was beautiful. She like had big space in her teeth. She had a pointy nose. But people were like, she's beautiful. That's what CeeLo's going for. CeeLo's so ugly, she's beautiful. Spotted. All right, let's get started with the show. We could talk dogs all day. Hell, talked about an episode of the show that Kelly and I did once where we specifically talked puppies for 2 hours. But that ain't fun and that ain't what we do here. Let's get started. It is. Oh, did I say Peter Peter's the executive producer of today's show? I want to make sure we give Peter credit. 2 days in a row. That's pretty good. He's utilizing that structure where you just tip a couple of bucks, just help out every day. Cup of coffee, like you're hanging out at the bar. I appreciate that. So Peter's the only tipper from yesterday, so he is the executive producer of today's show. Let's get started with the rant for the 12th day of March, year of our Lord 2025. It is the 71st day of the year. That means there are 294 of these left until the end of the year. The first quarter of the show is antecedently on this day, so let's say we get started. Some of the things that have helped shape our understanding of this day. On this day in 1933, during the Great Depression, Franklin Delano Roosevelt addresses the nation for the very first time as president of these here United States. This is also the first time that he performed one of his fireside chats. The birthday of the fireside chat today in 1933 during the Great Depression. On this day, antecedently in the year 1947, during the Cold War, I am, of course, a Cold War kid. My worldview is irrevocably shaped by the experiences of the last 55 years on this planet. So Cold War is when this comes to us, 1947. The Truman Doctrine. Okay, we're going to spend a second here on the Truman Doctrine because this is the Cold War defining doctrine that the United States foreign policy has followed since this day in 1947, until recently. And we're totally ignoring the Truman Doctrine now, completely fucking ignoring it. It's what kept the world safe for 60 years, but now, So what is the Truman Doctrine? The Truman Doctrine is a United States foreign policy that pledges American support for democratic nations against authoritarian threats. It's the whole reason for our foreign policy, for our defense buildup, for our superpower status. The entire reason was based on the fundamental idea of the Truman Doctrine, that the United States stands for people seeking freedom in all corners of the globe. People oppressing authoritarianism, which is a nice way to say communism at the time. That's what the Truman Doctrine was. If you've got the Warsaw Pact nations breathing down your neck and you don't like it, don't worry about developing your own military arsenal and taking it into your own hands. We, the NATO nations, we, the Cold War nations, will defend your right to seek freedom on this planet. It's a human right. That was the idea of the Truman Doctrine, which is now just fuck them. It's not just fuck them. The Truman Doctrine is a foreign policy that pledges American support for democratic nations against authoritarian threats. The doctrine originated with the primary goal of countering the growth of Soviet bloc nations during the Cold War. It was announced by Congress by President Harry S. Truman on March 12, 1947, and further developed on July 4th, 1948, when Truman pledged to oppose the communist rebellions in Greece and the Soviet demands on Turkey. More generally, the Truman Doctrine implied U.S. support for nations threatened by Moscow. It led to the formation of NATO in 1949. Historians often use Truman's speech to Congress on March 12, 1947, to date the start of the Cold War. Today, so that's what this all means. This was the day in history that we, the United States, said, we're going to do a Cold War, and this is the battle plan, the Truman Doctrine. Truman told Congress that it must be the policy of the United States to support free people who are resisting attempted subjugation by armed minorities or by outside pressures. Truman contended that because totalitarian regimes coerced free peoples, they automatically represented a threat to the international peace and the national security of the United States, or, to put it bluntly, our leadership role in the world. Why are we the leaders? Because we're the fucking morally, because we are the best people to be the leaders. Because our Constitution and our nation was founded on the ideas of great men like John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, who saw all of us as truly being created equal. That is different than every other country that came before us. Now, there's been a lot of countries since us who has adopted that very same thing. That's American exceptionalism. That's American influence, which is something that we don't care about anymore. The Truman Doctrine was formally extended to become the basis of American Cold War policy throughout Europe and around the world. It shifted U.S. policy towards the Soviet Union from a wartime alliance, they were our friends, to containment of Soviet expansionism. Okay, so that was on this day the Cold War began, the Truman Doctrine, something that we aren't really following anymore. We've got a new one. I guess it's what? The Make America Great Again Doctrine? I don't know what the specifics are on that. The Truman Doctrine was very specific. Antecedently on this day in 1989, another incredibly big moment for human history that probably wasn't recognized as such in the moment. On this day in 1989, Sir Tim Berners-Lee submits his proposal to CERN for an information management system, which subsequently develops into the World Wide Web. Internet. Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the guy who is, there's a lot of people involved, but we like things simple, Who invented the internet? So we just give him credit. He was instrumental, he was important, but there are a lot of people who were involved in that. There's a great documentary series about this. Started in like the 1960s. You want to go all the way back. Anyway, huge day. On this day, 1989, Sir Tim Berners-Lee submits his proposal to CERN for an informational management system which would develop into the World Wide Web. On this day in 1989. On this day in 1999, former Warsaw Pact members, the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland, joined NATO. Big day for us back in 1999. So we know NATO. I don't know if we're familiar with the Warsaw Pact, but the Warsaw Pact was the Soviet bloc. It was all of the Soviet countries. Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland. So around the time that the Soviet Union and communism and the Eastern Bloc nations began to sort of have a little bit of a tipping point, a bunch of those nations started to leave. Ukraine would eventually be one that left the Soviet bloc, Warsaw Pact nations. And, back on this day in 1999, we were all for it. All for it. That was good for us. Be like if England and France suddenly joined the Warsaw Pact, Be like, what the fuck? What happened? That was on this day in 1999. On this day in 2009, financier Bernie Madoff pled guilty to one of the largest frauds in Wall Street history. One of the largest because it's been dwarfed like 10 times over since then. We were shocked at the scale and scope of Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme, if you will. And then, we started to see all of these guys and all of the shit that they're doing. And now we've got a Sam Bankman-Fried. We've got, who else do we got in jail? A lot of these dudes. Anyway, Bernie Madoff, On this day, he was convicted. 2009. On this day, antecedently in the year 2011, we talked about this yesterday. We talked about the tsunami that hit Japan yesterday. Well, it was on this day, one day later, that a reactor at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant explodes and releases radioactivity into the atmosphere one day after the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. I don't know why I did that. That's not good. Didn't need applause for that. It's muscle memory. That's all. Let's do birthdays. Quarter 2. Here we go. Oh, wait. What's Peter doing? Peter doing games in the chat room? I don't know. I'm trying to read. I thought Peter was, I don't know what that's in context to. I will go for 3. I challenge. I don't know what that is. All right, so I'm not going to be distracted. All right, let's go into birthdays. These are people born on this day. Happy birthday to them. Maybe, maybe not. Born on this day in 1832. Here's the dude I told you about the other day. We were talking about Enrico Ponzi. Remember, it was like Ponzi's birthday? And I was like, this is the guy who was so good at being a piece of shit that his name is now synonymous with people doing piece of shit financial crimes. That's Ponzi, the Ponzi scheme. In relation to that at the time, I told you about this guy, Charles Boycott. Charles Boycott was born on this day in 1832. Charles Boycott was such an asshole that his name has become synonymous with shit you want nothing to do with. I'm boycotting that. Here's the Charles Boycott story if you weren't with us a couple weeks ago. Charles Boycott was a land agent who worked for the Crown, the Brits. He was sent to a town in Ireland to basically, this town was particularly rebellious. These people were like, yeah, fuck you. We ain't paying you for our own land, that whole deal. So the land agent's job was he had to go and collect fees for the king. And he lived in this town for a number of years. And he would socialize in this town. He'd go to the bars. He'd go to the restaurants, the pubs. He'd say hi to people. Everybody ignored him. Everybody in this town fucking treated him like he had the plague. If he was walking down the street, the people in this town would cross the other side. If he was in a pub trying to make conversation, people would walk away from him in mid-sentence. And that's where we get the term boycott. Charles Boycott was born on this day in 1832. Nobody wanted anything to do with him. Another guy who was so good at being a piece of shit that his name has become synonymous with things we want nothing to do with. Born on this day in 1832. Born on this day in 1917, Leonard Chess. This old son of a bitch. Leonard Chess. We hear a lot of stories about the early days of rock and roll and how, the miserly Jewish record man would steal the black artist's money. Yeah, that's Leonard Chess. That's who we're talking about here. It's always the Jewish man. They even portrayed that in The Sopranos with Hesh. If you remember Hesh was playing a character very similar to Leonard Chess. Leonard Chess and his brother ran Chess Records, which was a big, it's the American record label for blues, for the electric blues. Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Buddy Guy, all of these people. The Rolling Stones did an album at Chess Records because it was so important to them. Anyway, Leonard Chess was a son of a bitch. He was born on this day. He stole everybody's money. He got very rich. And, Muddy Waters died penniless. Actually, I don't know that Muddy Waters died penniless. I went to college with Muddy Waters' grandchildren. They were raised by hippies. Apparently, Muddy Waters' kid was a super hippie. And Muddy Waters' kid had kids. And those kids were raised like super hippies. And so Muddy Waters' grandchildren were named Shelter, hippie name, Shelter and Dance and Shelter. Of course, by the time they got to college, I knew them as Shelly and Dan. they had resisted the whole hippie thing. They're like, yeah, I'm Shelly. I'm Shelly. Her middle name was Bluesette. So when she wanted to be a television news anchor. I don't know whatever happened to her, but her television name was Bluesette Waters. Blue Waters. How great is that? And of course, it's bullshit because Waters isn't actually the family name. That's just what McKinley Morganfield, Muddy Waters, changed his name to. But still, she knew. She was like, I'm going into TV and I'm going to be a Nepo baby if I can. I'm going to let people know I'm Muddy Waters' granddaughter. I'm Blue Waters. Blizzette Waters. Leonard Chess, born on this day in 1917. See, that's a stream of consciousness. I just went off into the weeds, but we're back on track. Born on this day in 1922, Jack Kerouac. Oh my God. I have spent decades pretending to know who Jack Kerouac is. Jack Kerouac was very important to my generation, Gen X. They like rediscovered him in like the late 80s. And they're like, we're all reading Jack Kerouac now. Are you reading Jack Kerouac? And I'm like, yeah, sure, Kerouac on the road. That's it. That's what I know. I know Kerouac on the road. I tried to read some Jack Kerouac, found it incredibly boring. Incredibly boring. Jack Kerouac, born on this day in 1922. Born on this day in 1923. How about the great Wally Schirra? We're taking our hat off. You know, we do this for astronauts. God damn. Hero. Wally Schirra, American captain, pilot, astronaut. He died in 2007. He's one of the greats. Born on this day in 1946. We were just talking about Nepo babies. This is like the ultimate Nepo baby who became a treasured icon for no other reason than she was just always there. She's just always around. She's an icon. People are like, oh, she's terrific. And I'm like, is she a good singer? She's not really a good singer. Is she a good dancer? She's not really a good dancer. Is she a good actress? She can act a little. Well, she's obviously very attractive. No, she's not. She's not, but she's still Liza fucking Minnelli. What the fuck? Liza Minnelli? What are we doing? Like, I get Streisand. Streisand's like, oh, do you know the Liza Minnelli Streisand story? Like, I get Streisand. Streisand's legit, right? She's a performer, an iconic voice, all of that stuff. Filmmaker, director. Liza Minnelli is Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz's kid. That's it. And she's also, and this is, Vincent Minnelli. Vincent Minnelli's her father. Vincent Minnelli is a very famous film director. Very famous film director Vincent Minnelli and super famous actress Judy Garland get together and they have Liza Minnelli. And then, I don't know Liza was a natural born performer, but her mother in the 1960s needed to get back out there and start making money. But her mother, Judy Garland, was like a super drunk pill popper and she couldn't do it alone. So she needed her teenage daughter to go out there with her. And that's how Liza Minnelli started being a song and dance person, because mom was such a pill popping booze hound that she couldn't make these huge paychecks, which Judy Garland was still drawing. Judy Garland came to your town in 1966. You were selling out. And so they're dragging out the kid, Liza Minnelli, and she's like doing weird like tap dance and shit. She didn't belong there. So then they go back to New York, right? And so famous for being famous is essentially what's happening with Liza Minnelli's career here. But there's another young New York girl, another teen girl who's like in the same kind of demo as Liza, and Judy and the big machine is pushing Liza. But oh my God, there's this kid named Barbara Streisand who is burning up Broadway. Liza and Barbara didn't like each other. They were like, they saw each other as, here's what I think. I think Liza knew that Barbara Streisand had real talent and that all Liza had was famous parents. No reason whatsoever for me to have just spent 10 minutes on my thoughts on Liza Minnelli, but that's what this show is. Liza Minnelli. She's another one of these people that I don't get. I don't understand why she's famous. She's not good at anything. Remember when they cast her in Arthur? I mean, Arthur was still a hit, but that shouldn't have been Liza Minnelli. Arthur, the billionaire drunken playboy, is going to throw it all away for Liza Minnelli? Are you out of your mind? Was Goldie Hawn not available? What are you doing with Liza Minnelli? That was another example. Hollywood forcing people on us and us going, yeah, she'll do. She's fine. I guess she's famous now. I will say this about Liza Minnelli. She redeemed herself greatly in my book by an incredibly funny comic turn on the great show Arrested Development. She was very funny on Arrested Development. Very funny. Very funny playing with her own image of Liza Minnelli, which was cool to see. All right, there you go. Liza Minnelli, 1946, born on this day. Born on this day in 1948. I love this guy. I love this guy, even though I'm like, James Taylor. There you go. James Taylor, born on this day, 1948. You know who he got discovered? Not discovered. I mean, he was a singer-songwriter. All right, first of all, let's establish this. He's a fucking super rich kid. James Taylor comes from super big Boston money. Okay. Boston money that then his dad with the Boston money married like a woman from North Carolina whose family like goes all the way back to owning the largest slave plantation in America. Anyway, big fucking money. James Taylor is a super rich kid. And then he hooks up with who? He hooks up with Carly Simon. Carly Simon of Simon and Schuster. She's another silver spoon rich kid. And these two silver spoon rich kids are walking around barefoot on Cape Cod, acting like they're the goddamn silver spoon hippies. Bunch of kids. They were great. I mean, they're both great. They're both really talented, but they come from money, which is always strike against you. James Taylor got discovered in a really interesting way. He was a singer-songwriter. He's kind of like a beatnik. And he ended up taking whatever money he could save, and he went to England. And so he's in England, and his deal was, if I could just play some songs for the Beatles, if I could just play a couple of my songs from the Beatles, I know that they would sign me to their new record label. The Beatles had started a new record label called Apple. And so James Taylor, just on a lark, went over there with his little duffel bag and hung out on the steps of Apple until somebody would listen to his music. And that's how James Taylor became James Taylor. He was discovered by Derek Taylor, I think, who was the Beatles publicist. Yeah. James Taylor, born on this day, rich kid, silver spoon, but you know what? He went for it, and he earned it. He did the thing that others weren't willing to do, live on the steps of Apple Records for like a week until somebody finally listened to his music. Born on this day in 1948, James Taylor. Born on this day in 1960. Happy birthday, Courtney B. Vance. Who's the other guy? There's two guys. Oh, Jesus. I know that's a middle-aged white guy can't talk like this. There's another guy that I always get Courtney B. Vance confused with. Sterling K. Brown. That's it. Well, hey, Pugs, why do you get those two confused? Do they look alike? No, Pugs, they don't look alike at all. Which one played Johnny Cochran? Look, if you need someone to play Johnny Cochran, Sterling K. Brown or today's birthday boy, Courtney B. Vance, great choices. Which one of them played Johnny Cochran, and he was terrific. One of them is in this new show that I started watching last night. I think it's Sterling K. Brown, Paradise. You guys watching this show, Paradise? I watched episode 1 of Paradise last night, starring not Courtney B. Vance, but Sterling K. Brown. It's like a post-apocalyptic. They build a town inside a mountain because the world is going to end, and this town is like the perfect American town. I don't know. It's all right. It's all right. First episode was good. I'm like, okay, I'll watch the second episode. I'll check that out. There we go. It's not Sterling K. Brown's birthday. Now that I think about these two actors, Courtney B. Vance and Sterling K. Brown, they're not alike at all, right? I mean, Courtney B. Vance is kind of bigger and kind of, plays the room big, whereas Sterling K. Brown is very much quiet. He's very much like this. He's very stoic. All right, so there you go. I guess I am just a middle-aged racist who can't tell the difference between Sterling K. Brown and today's birthday boy, Courtney B. Vance. That's assuming. Here's a guy born on this day in 1962, man. I'm telling you, this is Luka Doncic. This, I know I'm old, so maybe I remember this more than other people. This is Luka Doncic. When you want to talk about whatever half-baked reason that the Mavericks may have had for cutting bait with Luka Doncic at this point of his career, I don't think any of us would agree that it's a good enough reason. But you can look at Darryl Strawberry, our birthday boy, and go, yeah, it's another example of a guy who just showed up to play the sport and without even trying was better than everybody else. Darryl Strawberry was better than everybody else playing baseball. for about 2 years, and he wasn't even trying. That's the thing about Straw. People were, man, could you imagine if this dude didn't smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day? If this dude wasn't a raging alcoholic who loved cocaine? Could you imagine if this dude was at the park early taking batting practice? How good Darryl Strawberry would be? But of course it caught up with him. You can't, what you can pull off at 22, 23, 24, you can't pull off at 26, 27, 28. And I think when we look at Luka, I think that's the only thing that the Mavs management have to hang their hat on, is that, well, he didn't try. And we've seen this before in sports, and we know the decline is coming, and we're not going to give him, I mean, that's bullshit to all us Mavericks fans, right? But Darryl Strawberry looked no further. The New York Mets, man, they were like, God, we'll make him the highest paid player in baseball. Can you just not do cocaine? Here's the thing about cocaine. He tested positive for cocaine like a whole bunch of times. Cocaine only stays in your system for like 24 hours. So that means he knew there were tests coming and he couldn't stop doing cocaine. Weed, I get it. You get popped for weed. You can be at a concert in the off season like 6 weeks before you get tested, and you could like take a hit on weed, and 6 weeks later you will pop dirty for weed because that shit stays in your system. Cocaine doesn't. Cocaine runs right through your system. If you got a drug test on Monday and you want to go balls out on Friday and Saturday night, just don't do cocaine on Sunday and you'll pass the test on Monday. Darryl Strawberry couldn't do that. He couldn't. So many, not just Darryl Strawberry, so many players. The addictive nature of cocaine, I guess. Anyway, Darryl Strawberry, the greatest that never was, because he didn't fucking try. Oh, and then you combine Strawberry on the same team with Doc Gooden, who's the exact same thing, just as a pitcher. Like the best pitcher in baseball, would he just fucking try? No. Doc Gooden liked to drink too. Glug, glug, glug. That doesn't last long in a career, man. By the time you get to be 26, 27 years old, and you're living that lifestyle, you can't perform the way a 22-year-old can. Al says, Paradise, I was talking about the new show, Paradise, starring Sterling K. Brown, and I don't know. He says, Paradise is just like the Truman Show. Yeah, with an edge. I mean, it's, there's an edge. There's a murder. It's a murder mystery. It's, but yeah, similar, I guess. Sure. Okay. That's not terrible. Al says he loves Paradise. He loves it. I saw the first episode. It was pretty good. Pretty good. I got to be honest, though. I'm not crazy about that Sterling K. Brown guy. I'm not crazy about him because he lacks magnetism. He's just, the president's dead. He's just very calm. He's just very, very I don't like it. I don't like it. I like that character. I like the character in Paradise of Sinatra, the billionaire woman who also seems to be like in charge of everything. She's like a female Elon Musk, which is really cool because Paradise was obviously produced long before Elon Musk ascended to the role that he is now. But this character, is it Juliana Nicholson? I think that's her name. She's good. She's the reason that I'm watching. I'm like, this chick's interesting. This crazy billionaire lady. All right, that's gonna do it. Let's move on. What else do we have here? Birthdays. That's right. We're doing birthdays. Born on this day, 1968. Tammy Duckworth, United States senator from the great state of Illinois. Thai American colonel, pilot. She doesn't have legs. Gave her legs. Helicopter crash. Born on this day in 1968 as well, Aaron Eckhart. Aaron Eckhart. He's an actor. He's good, but I always get him confused with Tom Jane. He's forgettable. So let's move on. Aaron Eckhart, born on this day in 1968. Born on this day in 1969, Jake Tapper. I hate that guy. Jake Tapper is such a fraud. He is such a fraud. Oh, my God. Anyway, moving on. Let's go into quarter three now. These are deads. Those are all the birthdays. Way to represent millennials and Gen Zers. 1969, the last birthday we're going to celebrate today is Jake Tapper, born in 1969. None of you born in the 70s, 80s, or 90s rated? Yeah, it's pretty weak. Not a lot of celebrities. All right, let's see here. Let's do the deads. These are people who died. These are people who died. Let's figure out if they went to heaven or if they went to hell. Okay, here we go. People who died on this day, 2001. I want to put him in heaven because, I've told stories about him before. He was actually kind of cool in real life. Like in real life, he was kind of cool. It's just his performance art, we'll call it, was a little over the top and rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And boy, he would have been great on Twitter. God, he would have been a god on Twitter if he was still alive. But he's not, because he died on this day in 2001. Morton Downey Jr. Morton Downey Jr. There's a terrific, I think it's called Big Mouth. There's a terrific documentary about Morton Downey Jr. Morton Downey Jr. was a cool, interesting dude. He was a Chicago radio talk show host for a long time, and then he would come back even after he became Morton Downey Jr. there on the TV. He would come back and host things. I had occasion to meet him, and I've always said to people, Morton Downey Jr. was a gentleman. He was a nice man. He was not, what you would expect in the real world. In the real world, he was a gentleman. He's an East Coast rich kid. He grew up on Kenny. Is it Kenny Bunkport or Hyannisport? He grew up living next door to the Kennedys when the Kennedys were the Kennedys. He hung out with all of them. His dad was a famous Irish-American singer who I bet the Kennedys loved. Morton Downey Sr. was like famous. He was like a singer. We don't remember him. History's totally forgotten him, but he was famous back in the day. He's a good guy. All right, Morton Downey Jr. I'm going to put him in heaven. I'm going to put him in heaven because did he do bad things? No, he didn't. He never assaulted anybody, never hurt anybody. He was just a showman. He was just an over-the-top, rattling cages troll before we really had a name for him. I'm putting Morton Downey Jr. in heaven. Fuck you. I don't care. I was impressed with him. I was like, wow. Same, very similar vibes that I have about Jerry Springer. Like Jerry Springer is like this guy that people think they know and they have an idea of what he was like. And then I got to know Jerry Springer really well. And Jerry Springer was just like a really cool, normal guy. Just like a normal, cool, really smart, really kind, generous, decent, funny man. So anyway, these people portray these things on the public stage and that, you can't be that all the time. We saw that a lot with shock jocks over the years. Like shock jock, like you'd listen to a shock jock, hey man, no fat chicks, yeah, hey man, what's going on there? Look at it, over the top, just socially gross shock jock. More times than not, you would meet them out in public in real life and they're totally normal. They're like not like that at all. You got to be able to turn it on and turn it off. Russ Martin wasn't. Russ Martin was like that all the time, which created a whole new set of problems. And that's why they're different. Because you can't be that asshole in the hallways of a business, but some of these guys. All right, moving on. Morton Downey Jr., we're going to put him in heaven because I liked him. Dead on this day in the year 2021. This guy's going to hell. We're going to put this guy in hell. This guy's one of the ground zero for one of the great American creep-ass legends that we've ever had. Ronald DeFeo Jr. says here, American criminal. Ronald DeFeo Jr. died on this day in 2021. He was born in 1951. Who is Ronald DeFeo Jr.? Ronald DeFeo Jr. is a dude who slaughtered his entire family. He went into his family's house and he just slaughtered them all. Just like a crazy fucking serial killer man. Slaughtered his family. Where did he slaughter his family? He slaughtered his family in a town on Long Island called Amityville. That's right. This is the Amityville Horror House. Ronald DeFeo is the guy that slaughtered his whole family that supposedly caused the haunting that the next family moved into and they made a movie about. Ronald DeFeo is going to hell. Slaughtered his family, for crying out loud. What are you people kidding me? All right, that's it. Those are the first 3/4 of the show. They're down. Peter, wait a second. Does Peter have breaking squirrel news? I don't even know what breaking squirrel news is. Let's see here. Peter says, squirrel moment, Walmart Plus just delivered a Kinder chocolate bar to my house. And I didn't order it. Is it for some other lazy fat ass that can't make it to the store? Yeah, eat it. You got to eat that. They bring you perishable foods to your house. You didn't order it. You eat that shit. Look. What do we got? Oh, we got NFL breaking news. Sports bras. Let's see. What's happening? Hold on. Let me see. Don't worry. We'll do the whole update today on free agency. You know, the way Peter is about college basketball, that's how I am with NFL free agency this week. What is the latest? Boy, we were going to have to wait till very late in the show to get to the free agency segment. Hold on. What's the big breaking news, man? I see a bunch of third tier player movements. I don't see what the big breaking news is. Nothing. I'm seeing nothing with the Cowboys. Joey Bosa to the Bills. Is that the big breaking news? I don't know. All right. I don't know. Hold on. Oh, that's the breaking news. Okay. There we go. So it's Aaron. There you go. Breaking news. That's not big breaking news. Didn't we all expect that? I got you, CC. Aaron Rodgers has confirmed he's going to be with the Steelers. All right, very good. These Steelers going to suck. Let's see. Anything else? Anybody else doing anything? CC's like, look on your chat. LOL. I can't. I need another computer. I need a second computer. I used to do this show with two computers, but then that computer went shitty. So now I just do the show with one computer, which means what is going on with my backdrop? Holy cow. Can't have that. You know how I like my eagle. There you go. Why does this eagle? The eagle doesn't play all the way through. This is the second time this morning that the eagle has switched over to some other bullshit at 31 minutes. The problems I deal with putting this show together for you every day. All right, let's get started. All right, I gotta look up one thing. Hold on. All right, that's not all right. All right. Well, it's not great, but okay. So let's get into quarter four. This is where we talk about all the big hot stories and everything that's happening. First and foremost, the American economy. Let's talk about that. That is the big story that is happening today. As I look at the Dow Jones, at the moment, I mean, it's down. It was down 475 the last time I looked. The Dow was down again for like the third straight day. It was down almost 500 points. Which, again, don't worry about the daily losses. Look at the total cumulative average. Look at the big number that's still around 41. That is robust. That number is fine. If you see that number get below 25, then it's panic time. Okay? In 2025, if it gets below 25, it's panic time. But not even like bad panic, just like, your mom's fucked. Your retired grandma's fucked. And not the rich people. The rich people never get fucked. They're going to be fine. They know how to plan for these kinds of events. Not your retired grandma. She doesn't. She just put her money there and let it sit there because she trusted those nice boys with the good haircuts on Wall Street. And they're going to fuck her. But don't worry, rich folks. Rich folks are going to be fine. Currently, the stock market, as I said, it's down 75. I mean, it's red is bad. The red down arrow is bad, but it's down 75 after being down as much as 495, 475 earlier today. Yesterday, we were touching down 1,000. Yesterday, the day before, it was down 1,000. Again, we're at 41. We are currently at 41,357. All right, that's not a problem. It doesn't matter what the daily red or green is, as long as you are still cumulative somewhere in like 41,000, which is the healthiest, most robust stock market. That means there are so many people participating in our stock market, more so than ever before. 41,000, down 75 at the moment. Now, why is this all happening? This is all happening because of the crazy stock stuff and tariff stuff, right? Stock market is trying to anticipate what this president is going to do next, but they can't really do that effectively because, again, I believe this president is using the madman version of diplomacy, which you can't count on anything. You give him what he wants. You give the madman what he wants because you're afraid of what he'll do next. That's essentially what the person utilizing the madman is going for. Give me what I want because you don't know what I'm going to do. Well, the stock market is reacting in kind. They're going this way, they're going that way. People are panicking. We're back to what? We're back to 50% tariffs now on Canada. And again, I don't understand why we're fucking with Canada. We're now saber rattling about having these 25% tariffs on stuff from England. Again, I don't understand why we are fucking with our closest friends. I don't understand. The rest of the world, they don't understand. So the market is acting, a bit schizophrenic. And that's being generous. It's not acting schizophrenic. It's going down, okay? It's not. There isn't going to be maybe today it'll perk up in the green for a couple of swipes, but it's going to be down. And man, I've been saying, y'all know I don't like this guy, right? Y'all know I think this guy's like kind of a clown. I don't consider him a particularly smart dude. I wouldn't put him in charge of anything that was really important to me or my family. Yet here we are. He's in charge of the United States. He's the leader of the free world. So, full disclosure, not a fan. But I also am of the belief that this is what we elected. We collectively, maybe not me personally, but as a nation, we elected this guy. And as I said yesterday, he's doing some things that have not been done before. Why haven't these things been done before? Well, I think a lot of people have been afraid of what the growing pains are going to be. And that's what we're going through. We're going through growing pains. Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic. But like I say, I don't think we're really going to know June 1st. On June 1st, let's take a look at what's going on with the economy. And if this was just the growing pains of, getting out of bed, that's basically what we're doing here. We're starting this new process and we're getting out of bed and, oh my God, in the very beginning, it's sore. And how am I going to be able to play basketball with the boys today? But you get past it and you move on. And then before you know it, it's 10:30 in the morning. You've had 2 cups of coffee and you're like, all right, I'm up. I'm ready to go. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Let's see. I'm not an economist. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Now, here is some bad news. Those $5,000 Trump checks that we were promised, that he promised at that thing in Saudi Arabia a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that's not going to happen. They're all saying, yeah, that's not going to happen. We're gonna need to use more than 20% of the Doge savings to pay down the federal deficit. They're now saying that, so we're not gonna get our $5,000 checks. Although maybe we will, because that's the thing about this guy. Guy might wake up in the morning and go, "Let's send out checks." I don't even know if that's a good thing. I know I could use $5,000. I could certainly use $5,000. That'd be life-changing money to me in this moment. Canada is they're not going quietly into this night, as they say. Is it Rob Ford? What's his name? Remember the guy? Remember the Canadian politician who did crack? Remember the Canadian mayor of Toronto who saw Marion Barry and went, white guys can do that too. And he went into a hotel room and smoked some crack and he became, a crazy joke and punchline and all that good stuff. Was that Rob Ford? All right. Well, his brother's kind of an important dude. What's his name? Doug Ford. There you go. President Trump may have delayed most, though not all, of the tariffs he has imposed on Canada, but that hasn't stopped America's northern neighbors from responding forcefully in retaliation. Ontario Premier, I don't even know what that is. Is that like governor? Is he like the governor of Ontario? Is that just the word they used? Ontario Premier Doug Ford said at a press conference that he would move forward with a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to 3 U.S. states starting Monday. warning that he will turn off access if the United States adds new tariffs on Canadian goods. Okay, so here's something I didn't know. Had no idea that this was a thing. Did you guys know? Did you guys know that Canada provides 80% of the electricity for Minnesota, Michigan, and the state of New York? Had no idea. Didn't know, but that's true. And apparently they're saying now, okay, we're going to put New York in the dark. You guys. So there you go. So you got the crackhead's brother. You got Rob Ford's brother, Doug Ford, out there saber rattling back at the United States. Why are we fighting with Canada? I don't fucking get this. It makes no fucking sense. Canada's our guy. Canada is like who, when we go on the world stage and we're over there and we're feeling a little awkward because we don't know the French and German people. Canada's our guy that's right next to us. That we're like, hey, do you know the German guy? And Canada's like, I do. Hey, Canada's our friend, man. Canada's our little buddy, and we're fucking with them, and we're fucking with England, and we're fucking with France, and we're fucking with Mexico. Okay, I kind of get that. Mexico's got to get their shit together. Mexico, let's focus on fucking with Mexico so they can get their shit together. Because quite frankly, if Mexico ever got their shit together, that's going to be a cool country. That can be a cool country. But it's too fucked up at the moment. It's definitely not like if it was Sesame Street, right? And you had America, Canada, and Mexico, and you played that song, one of these kids is doing his own thing, one of these kids just doesn't belong. That would be Mexico. America and Canada are like, we're exactly the same. We say home in a boot different. That's all. Canada, why are we fucking with Canada? Why are we fighting with Doug Ford? Why is the premier of Ontario, which I think is governor, why is he threatening to cut off electricity to 3 major American states? This is the world we live in. What's going on with the funding bill? Are we gonna have a shutdown government? Elon Musk says he wants the government shut down. Of course he does. He's a patriot. He was called a patriot yesterday, and I'm like, motherfucker, he is not a patriot. Maybe he's a patriot to his own global visions and dreams. Maybe he's a patriot of Mars. But that motherfucker ain't a patriot of the United States. He never celebrated a 4th of July growing up. What the fuck? You can't just say shit. And we're all supposed to be like, oh yeah, Elon Musk, great patriot. Born and raised in Baton Rouge. He's a foreigner who grew up in an apartheid state, the son of a guy who owned a diamond mine. Fucking stop. Stop. He's a patriot. All right, let's keep going. I know a lot of politics today. Guys, I don't like to do politics, but something happened yesterday that fucking broke me. We're getting to that story. We are getting to that story. Let's move over to the big news. The United States and Ukraine have called for a 30-day ceasefire. People in charge of such business, with the exception of Trump. Trump wasn't there, but they sent Rubio, right, over to Saudi Arabia. Is that where they did this? And you had Zelensky there, and they hammered out a deal. They hammered out the same fucking deal that Zelensky went to the White House to sign 2 weeks ago. Like, you see what's happened here? Zelensky came to the White House because Zelensky's team of negotiators and the White House's team of negotiators had spent weeks hammering out details, and they had come to an agreement in principle. It's at that point that you fly the president of another country in to show up at the White House to do a photo op in front of cameras where you shake hands and sign the fucking deal. That's what was supposed to happen on Friday, 2 Fridays ago. But this president decided that he was going to turn it. He was starting, he wanted to look tough. So he decided to turn it into a thing. So he blew up the fucking deal on live TV. We all saw it. The dude was there to sign. They had a deal. He didn't come there to fucking bicker. He came from his nation that was under attack in an airplane across the globe to sign the fucking deal. And the president blew it up because, as he said, good TV. So the president blew it up. And then Zelensky goes back to Europe and he's like, what the fuck happened? And they're like, I don't know what happened. And they're like, why didn't you just grovel and suck his dick? And he's like, because I'm a grown man who's not gay. And they're like, but you got to do that with him. So now they're pretending like, oh, he was brought to heel and now he's back and he and Rubio have signed. This is the same fucking deal from 2 weeks ago. It's just been delayed because we've got a theater kid in the White House who everything's got to be drama. Fuck. It's the same fucking deal. This isn't a victory for Trump. It's an embarrassment that it wasn't done 2 weeks ago when the motherfucker got in a plane and flew to the White House to sign the fucking deal. He had already agreed. And now you're acting like, well, there's no deal. He won't sign a deal. And what was his one complaint, though? What was the one thing that Zelensky countered to J.D. Vance on? It was that Russia will not abide by a ceasefire. You fucking people are getting run by Putin. You're like, well, no, I think we can bring him to heel. I think that he will abide by a ceasefire. So yesterday, 24 hours ago, the United States gets Ukraine to agree to a 30-day peace ceasefire. That's a great thing. Great thing. Ukraine was already willing to do that 2 weeks ago, but we signed it now. It's official, right? Right? Wrong. Because last night, Russia fucking dropped a whole shit ton of bombs hours after the ceasefire that Ukraine said that they wanted, and Russia's like, "Nyet, fuck you." Why? Because Zelensky's right. Russia can't be trusted. They can't be trusted. Russia launches airstrikes on Kiev and Kharkiv hours after Ukraine says it's ready to accept U.S. brokered ceasefire. Ukraine said it was ready to accept an immediate 30-day ceasefire in the war with Russia as the U.S. announced it would immediately lift its restrictions on military aid and intelligence. Donald Trump said how he hoped Vladimir Putin would, or how he, I'm sorry, Donald Trump said he now hoped Vladimir Putin would reciprocate. If the Russian president did, it would mark the first ceasefire in the more than 3 years since this full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Hours after Ukraine's declaration, Russia launched an air attack on Kiev, with Mayor Vitaly Klitschko saying air defenses were engaged in repelling the strikes. Strikes were also reported by the RIA news agency on Kharkiv. RAI agency cited the Ukrainian Ministry of Digital Transportation, which said that air alerts and air raids. All right, so fucking you can't trust Putin. This is exactly what he said. Zelensky's like, no, Mr. President, you don't understand. He's like, no, he's going to listen to me. Fucking 12 hours after they announced to the world that, so now we know who the asshole is. We know who the asshole is. It's Putin. What, are you going to like now make excuses for Putin? Well, maybe he didn't hear. Maybe it took 12 hours to get to Moscow. Maybe, no, fuck that. That's what Putin does. He brings them to a point where they're like, okay, all right, well, let's all get along now. Let's have a ceasefire. And he's like, fuck you. And that's when he pounces. And that is what everyone in the world has been trying to tell Trump about this son of a bitch. And Trump keeps going, he's got pictures of prostitutes peeing on me. I can't break bad on him. He's got shit on me. It'd be really embarrassing. I mean, it probably wouldn't be bad. My MAGA fucks, they're all so fucking in my corner. They wouldn't care, but it'd be embarrassing. Be humiliating to me. And I'm Trump. I don't like to be. Fuck that. Putin's got some shit on this guy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like I said, something happened yesterday that broke me. Something happened, I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to, be Mr. Elections have consequences. And I'm trying to bide my time with all of this nonsense that's going on in Washington. Then he turns the fucking White House driveway into a car dealership yesterday. This is what broke me, you guys. If you're wondering why Pugs is a little bit fucking different now in his tone when it comes to these people, it's because I never thought I'd see what I saw yesterday. You want to talk about being a whore. You want to talk about just slutting up the fucking White House. So we all know that Tesla has been going through some things. People are angry at Elon Musk. I think he's a dork. I want him to focus on Mars. Can we do that? By the way, congratulations. SpaceX and NASA combined to launch a really cool space telescope last night. That's right. The SpaceX rocket got the Sphere telescope system up there. The Sphere X was launched. It was very cool. No, not surprised the media didn't cover that, because they only cover when Elon's rockets blow up. They don't show the like actual advancements that this dude is making in the space world. But okay. All that being said, you know that I'm not a fan of Elon. I think he's a weirdo. I don't like weirdos. He's like an awkward spectrum baby. It's fucking too powerful. All that shit. So Elon's been getting bent over as far as the Tesla stuff goes. Tesla, Starlink, all these other things are starting to fall apart on him because of this political backlash. It's a good thing he's got $250 billion. He's lost like $100 billion. He's still the richest man. He lost $100 billion. You know, there didn't used to be people with $100 billion. The 100 billionaire mark was first passed in like the early 2000s. There didn't used to be anybody on this planet who had more than $100 billion. Elon's got $250 billion right now. And that's since the pandemic. Like, you know, these dudes profited off what the rest of us went through like nobody's business, but we don't care about that. We don't care. So his business are taking a shit, right? Tesla stock down 70% in the last 48 hours, or the 48 hours previous. Tesla stock is booming now. Tesla stock is like rebounding. So good. Because the richest man in the world was having a bad day on Wall Street. Still worth, you know, $150 billion more money than anybody else in the history of humanity has ever had. But that's, you know, he lost $100 billion, so we got to feel sorry for him. And how sorry do we feel for him? The president of the fucking United States does a car commercial in the driveway of the White House yesterday. What the fuck, man? Did you see his notes? He had fucking notes. He was doing a live read like he's a fucking radio DJ at a car dealership. That's a real problem. That's a real integrity thing. That's a fucking principles thing. The White House should not be endorsing one car maker over the other. There's a great American company. Is it? Is Tesla a great American company? How so? It's owned by people. It's owned by the stock market, right? Those people got investors. Elon Musk, who is the principal, he's not an American. I mean, maybe he's an American citizen now. I mean, hell, he could probably get whatever he wants. But don't kid yourself. He might be an American on paper because, you know, he filled out the right forms. But he ain't an American in his heart. Like I said, Elon Musk never ate a hot dog at a lake on the 4th of July. Never. Wasn't a part of his growing up. Do you know how little Elon Musk probably knows about American history? Like, do you know how you could fucking school him on like Ben Franklin, John Adams, Patrick Henry shit? He doesn't know it because that was not a part of his life growing up. These stories, you know, they tell you probably all about the like Dinka warriors and shit like that in South Africa. Probably tell you all about the de Klerk regime and, you know, their policy of apartheid and suppression. He can probably tell you all about that, but never forget the president called him a great patriot and leader of a great American company. Whatever the fuck that means. In the driveway of the White House, this son of a bitch. This guy, you're not paying full price. No, you're not. You're not paying full price because later that day, it was announced that Elon Musk donated $100 million to Trump campaign PACs. Like hours after Trump does the commercial in the driveway, Elon Musk drops $100 million in various Trump campaign PACs. Guys, it's happening right in front of us and nobody cares. Do you not care because you just assume this was always happening behind closed doors and we weren't seeing it, but you know, you could speculate? And now we're just seeing it out in the open and you're like, well, yeah, I'm totally okay with that because I'm not fucking okay with that. Hide it from me. Don't insult me by doing it right in my face. Okay? Guess they just figured out people are stupid. People don't fucking care. You know, 1 in 10 are going to see this and go, the president really shouldn't be doing a commercial in the fucking driveway of the people's house. He shouldn't. 1 in 10. 1 in 10 people will have my reaction. 9 in 10 will be like, oh, I should go get a Tesla. Hey, bad news, MAGA. You know how fucking expensive Teslas are? You ain't going to give up on that F-150 from the used car, CarMax or where the fuck it is. Yeah, get out there, MAGA. Get out there. See if Tesla financing is going to fucking approve you for one of those $54,000 entry level Did you see the notes? He had a whole thing of cards and notes. And then there's the S model, which starts at 104,000. Yeah, perfect for MAGA. Perfect. Perfect for a fucking truck driver from Arkansas. Yeah, he's going to get that $104,000 S model. Guys, it was gross. It was absolutely gross to see that happen yesterday. Simply because Tesla stock is down 70%, the president is in the driveway of the people's house, artificially inflating the stock value of somebody who is real fucking sketchy these days. It was just a bad look. But so many bad looks. Where is the floor? Where is the floor? Like in the State of the Union, is he going to stop and start promoting somebody's company? Oh, and by the way, I just want to take a moment here and talk about my good friend. If you're in the market for a comfortable night's sleep, the Serta Perfect Sleeper, is that where we are now with this guy? Just wherever he can fucking make money? It's crazy. It's crazy. Insane. What's this? Is Bobby Kennedy Jr. doing a steak and shit? No, I haven't seen that. I'm you know what, that guy, let's keep him sidelined. He is fumbling. He's doing his level best to fuck up this measles thing, whether it's through optics or communicative narrative. They're just not doing a really great job on this. What do you expect, you know? All right, let's move on. What else do we have here? We do have other things that we need to talk about. The United States has been added to the Human Rights Watch list. Huzzah! Yeah, that sucks. There's like, you know, remember the shithole countries? Remember back from like 2016? I'm tired of the shithole countries. We're one of the shithole countries. We are now on the list with the other shithole countries. This, according to the, what group is this? Human Rights Watch list. The United States has been added to the Civicus Monitor Watch list, which globally identifies countries that the civil rights watchdog group believes are currently experiencing a rapid decline in freedoms. That's us, America. But as long as you keep telling people it's about freedom, you can take as many freedoms away. You can. Because we're taking your freedoms away because we're free. We have that in Texas. We have that bullshit here in Texas. The average dumb fuck from Central Texas is like, oh, Texas, live free or die. We got freedom here in Texas. Can't get high. Can't fucking sports gamble. Can't fucking get women's health treatment if you need it. Yeah, keep telling me about the freedoms we enjoy here in Texas. This is one of the most oppressive fucking states in the nation, but that's okay. Keep telling yourself how great it is to be a free Texan. Why can't I get high in sports gamble? That's what I fucking want to know. All my friends, I told you this yesterday, I'm in a bunch of group chats. All my friends are like, dude, I made $400 last night. I can't believe you hit that three at the buzzer. And I'm watching these guys and I'm like, I can't do it. I'm in Texas. I used to do it when I was in Illinois. It was fun. It was fun. You put $2, $3, $5, whatever on a game here, there. Can't do that in Texas because freedom. I also think because Jesus. I think Jesus has a lot to do with impeding our freedoms here in Texas. I want sports gambling. I want casino gambling. I want to get high like a goddamn normal citizen of a normal American state. And if my kid knocks up a chick, I want her to be able to have all options available to her, if you know what I mean. That's just who I am. But yeah, here we are. Texas freedom. Bork, bork. Fucking morons. All right, I'm angry. I need to calm down. I'm sorry. Peter says Texas blows. Preach it, Pugs. Now, I ain't saying that. Fucking Texas is awesome. Texas has the most potential of any place in this country. It's just that, you know, there's changes and there's an overreaction. You know, your response to a social change is almost always to overcorrect. And that's where we're at here in Texas. We are in overcorrection mode. More people like me are going to start going, why can't I get high and gamble? More people like me are going to start saying that because they're going to see folks in Oklahoma getting high and gambling. They're going to see folks in Arizona and New Mexico and California, and all of a sudden it's going to be everywhere. And at some point, more people are going to say, why can't I get high and blow my paycheck with DraftKings? When you do, you're going to have to realize that you, as a citizen of Texas, do not have the freedoms that other Americans do. You are being subjugated by an oppressive, overcorrecting, far right-wing government. Peter says he's driving to Shreveport next Thursday to do a 1 day of 32-game basketball betting. There you go. So you got to drive to fucking Shreveport or across the border into Oklahoma. Why? Because Jesus thinks gambling is bad. Because Texas is free. It's bullshit, guys. But Peter, don't shit on Texas, because in every other regard, this place is fucking baller. This place is awesome. Kidding me? And it's only going to be more awesome as more and more people come, as we fill up this north section of Texas. You know, New York Times put out a story about a year ago where they predicted that by the year 2050, the North Texas Metroplex will be the largest metropolitan area in the United States, the number one media market. I totally see it. I mean, if you've been here, you already know we're already number 4. When I moved here, we were 6, and now we've moved up to 4. And for 5 years in a row, we here in North Texas has been the fastest growing place in America. Dude, Frisco didn't even exist when I moved here. Now Frisco is like a near suburb. Frisco used to be so far. We're going to go up to Frisco. Now Frisco is like, 10 minutes on the tollway. Now we're talking about McKinney and Murphy and Anna. We're going all the way up to Denison. We're going to the North Texas Metroplex, the Dallas-Fort Worth Superplex, as the New York Times called it. I mean, we're going to have 15 million people. We're going to have 15 million people. That's insane. And then have you seen the predictions for Central Texas? What they're calling the Middleplex, which is Austin and San Antonio, and that whole area is getting filled in. It used to be Austin was this really cool city, and then you would drive for like 40 minutes through nothing, and then you'd get to another cool city in San Antonio. Well, now in 2025, that area in between is all suburbs of both Austin and San Antonio. That area is going to be massive. So I don't sleep on Texas. As more people that come here, the larger our communities get. That's when you'll start to see a change from a rural mindset to more of an urban mindset. And I know that sounds like a horror show to my friends Byron and Barney, but it's coming, baby. It's coming. Oh, you're going to live in an apartment building, and you're going to walk in and you're going to be like, who's cooking Pakistani food? That's what you're in for. That's the northern big city experience. You walk into an apartment building and you're like, oh, I guess we got Filipinos living here now. Fucking rice. I lived in a building with a Filipino family. I'll say this. I don't know if the food smelled bad. The food smelled. There was a food smell. Like, you're like, okay, that's an interesting thing. What is that? Rice and what? Jasmine? What is that? Anyway, that's once you start having to exist in that kind of a world, you stop being afraid of brown people. Byron! I'm kidding, Byron. I say that, Byron, because Byron's sort of, to me, Byron is like my quintessential MAGA guy. Like, and I love Byron. Don't get me wrong; he's one of the funniest people on here. But he is who I use for that. I also, to a lesser extent, use Barney. Barney's more of like my crazy scientist. Like, Barney comes up with like crazy news stories. Trying to, like, I'll give you an example. Barney was like pushing that story that JD Vance has some like eye issue, which is why he wears he wears eyeliner. That's the excuse that they put out. So the people like you would go, he's not a fag. No, people like you, now you got an excuse that they put out. That ain't true. There's pictures of him. Go on Google. I did it this morning because the Wall Street Journal has a big story out today about JD Vance and eyeliner and Matt Gaetz and fucking Botox and tweezers. It's just about how, like, Femi, the MAGA dudes are becoming, and everybody's just totally okay with it. Wall Street Journal. You'll find it. I think I tweeted a link to it on Twitter. But yeah, no, that's not true. JD Vance was a goth kid. There's pictures of him as a teenager wearing eye makeup and shit. It's just something that he knows makes his eyes pop, so he's going to do it. And he knows that, like, when people go, why is he wearing eye makeup? He knows that they're dumb enough that someone can just go, no, it's an eye ailment that he has that makes his eyes beautiful. It's an eye disease that also happens to make his eyes beautiful. He's wearing makeup, dude. He's wearing makeup. They're all wearing makeup. They're all wearing foundation and fucking pancake. It's the gayest thing. All right, whatever. But also at the same time, you know, masculine, right? Mm-hmm. Jeff says, wait till the California blue hairs move there and start turning Texas back to purple. California blue hairs are already here, man. It's already I live now. It's been pointed out to me that the neighborhood that I live in isn't typical Texas, that the neighborhood that I live in I live on a college campus. I live on SMU. It's an extraordinarily conservative college campus, but it's still a global university where people from all over the world come. So I live on this campus. So my neighborhood, I mean, I do see purple Texas, loud and proud. I mean, I see Ukraine flags in my neighborhood. There are Ukraine flags. There are Canada flags hanging. So again, I know that I live on a college campus, so it's a little bit different than, say, living in Forney. But yeah, I don't know. Blue hairs in the California folks, they're already here. But also, don't be fucking afraid of them. Remember, they left because of the bullshit. It's not like they're coming down here. Excuse me. It's not like they're coming down here to turn Texas into California. They're not. They're coming down here because California got a little too California for them. Centrists. That's what we need. If Texas could be a good purple state, you know, maybe a split legislature, equal progressives and conservatives, that's where we need to be. That's where we once were. That's, you know, when Dallas was having its best time. I speak of Dallas, the 1980s. That's what Texas was. Texas was purple. It was Ann Richards, you know. We're talking about the state that gave the Democrats one of their great all-time leaders. LBJ. LBJ is a goddamn icon in the Democratic Party, and I dare say there's not a more Texas man ever than LB fucking J. That dude was Texas incarnate. So, you know, Texas can get back to that. Texas got to get away from these weird dudes in wheelchairs and yeah. Oh, yeah. What, Pugs? Are you bagging on the handicap? No, I'm speaking very deliberately to Greg Abbott, a man who has been handicapped. He's gone through a life trauma, and I believe that it has severely mentally disturbed him. I think that Greg Abbott losing his legs has fundamentally changed who he is as a person, as is often the case with people who go through these incredibly life-altering traumas. Yeah, Greg Abbott is a fucking crazy man because he hates the world because he doesn't have legs anymore. So yeah, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. He needs to go. And then you got big fucking donkey tooth, the guy that's behind him. What's his name? Dan Patrick. He's one of those dudes that went, you know, he was listening to his favorite talk radio station, heard them do a live read on, you know, the fucking big horse teeth. Come, hey, are your teeth fucked up? Come get giant horse teeth. You seen them? These veneers? They all have them now. Everybody's got them. They all got the same fucking horse teeth. It's like a nation of Nancy Kerrigans, for fuck's sake. Dan Patrick. That dude needs to be taken out back, and I don't want to say a bullet in his head, but he needs to get the shit kicked out of him by a dude wielding a rake. That's what needs to happen to Dan Patrick. Let's kick the shit out of him with a rake. Metaphorically, of course. But then, I don't know, the Democrats in this state, they all suck too. Beto, are you fucking kidding me with that pussy? Oh. There are no cool Democrats. That's the problem. There are no cool Democrats. And in the absence of cool Democrats, we look at some dudes who are interesting as Republicans and we think they're cool, but they're not. They're just interesting and weird. California went crazy one way, so Texas went the other. That's probably true, Barney. That is probably true. California and Texas, they're not all that different. They're, the behemoth economic powers that this country depends on. Don't kid yourself. There's only 5 states that this country depends on. There's a whole bunch of states that don't matter. All right, what are the important states that this country depends on? You got California, you got Texas, you got Florida, you got New York, you got Pennsylvania, you got Ohio, you got Illinois. That's it. Those are the states. Those are like the big economic engine states. And there's only like 5 or 6 of them. Everything else. Sorry, Jeff's out there in Iowa. Jeff's like, what about me? Fucking, you guys do nothing. You guys are actually a drag. Iowa is a drag on this country because we pay you fuckers to burn your crops. That's basically the only thing that Iowa has to contribute to the rest of the country is that they make delicious corn, but unfortunately, they make too much of it. And I'm kidding. I actually love Iowa. Iowa is like one of the great places. It's idealistic America. All right, let's go. What else do we have here? Trump buys a Tesla. I was going to show the video. We don't need to show the video. Trump buys a Tesla. Cool car, though. It is a cool looking car. But he didn't buy it because remember, Elon Musk donated $100 million to Trump campaign efforts hours after he did the commercial in the driveway. Oh, let's show you this. This is good. This is after all of that. And don't worry, we're going to get out of politics. After all of that, let's show our government at work. Okay, this happened yesterday in the United States government. Here we go. Watch it. Just watch it. We're just gonna watch this. This happened yesterday. This is our government at work.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply.
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman? Would you repeat what you just said when you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
You will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
All right, and there you go. That is our government. That is our Congress. Aren't they great? Aren't they incredible? That is our, so what's going on there? A lot to unpack. Apparently, and was I not aware of this? I don't know. I don't pay attention to this bullshit. I don't care. This person isn't my congressperson, right? So apparently there's a trans woman, says, because it was born a dude, became a woman. We call them a trans woman. Okay, so there's a trans woman in Congress. I didn't know that. If you'd have said to me yesterday, is there a trans woman in Congress? I'd be like, no. We used to have one like in charge of the Navy, I think. Like, wasn't it? Didn't we have a surgeon general or something? We used to have one, but that was a Biden deal. I don't think we got any of them in. And it turns out we do. Turns out we got a trans congressperson. Okay. And they're on a committee. And that's what we were looking at there. We were looking at inside a congressional committee. I don't even know what the committee is. It doesn't matter because there's so much going on. The chairman of the committee is obviously a right-wing MAGA guy who hates chicks with dicks. That's right. Not a fan. And so he introduced them, I'm going to go with. So he introduced them as Mr. Even though, they are sitting there in a dress with a wig, makeup on. I mean, sure, it could be J.D. Vance, but it's not. It's actually a dude dressed as a woman. Or, I'm sorry, it's a trans woman. It's a trans woman. But the chairman introduces them as Mr. Yeah. So, oh, now we got Mr. So-and-so, which is fucking shitty. Yeah, it's a dick move. Total dick move. This whole situation could have been avoided, and they could have actually gotten to the business of, government. But it got derailed because of a dick move by the guy who obviously knew it was being recorded, and maybe he's up for re-election, but he wants to make sure that the fucking pea-brained idiots in his district know that he is going to be disrespectful to this fucking weird dude in a dress. That was his whole thing. I'm going to publicly be disrespectful to this dude in a dress so that the folks at my next district pancake breakfast will know that I fucking hate the weirdos. Huzzah! That's what he was doing. It was totally unnecessary. Now let's move on to the fucking white knights. Mr. Have You No Decency? All right, so that dude's a Democrat, right? And he doesn't like that the Republican is, a dick, a total ass, causing this whole fucking problem. I mean, I'm sure this person has sat on other, committees and held other meetings, and it didn't devolve into this. For whatever reason, this asshole chairman, this MAGA fucking D-bag, he's like, yeah, I'm going to call him a dude and see if I can spin this shit out of control. Well, you got your wish, because you know what? That feckless pussy of a Democrat who rode in on his white stallion to protect her should have let her protect herself. What are you doing? This fucking I just want to make sure, because I need to go back to my district and my pancake breakfast, and those people are all blue-haired weirdos, and I need to make sure that they know that I will stand and defend whatever that is. That is what I am doing. That's what you had here. You had a far-right congressman and a far-left congressman both fucking doing their little drama scene so that they could appeal to whoever it is back at their home district. Whoever elected them. Meanwhile, you got the actual trans woman sitting there going, well, I guess I truly am a woman because the men are speaking for me. Guess I've never felt more like a female. Fucking stupid. Peter's right. It probably was a publicity stunt. It was dumb. So what are you just being a fucking dick to just be a dick? Look, we all know it's weird. If you were born in a certain time, that's different. That's a new thing. We're all fucking adjusting to it. But you know what? What skin is it off your back to just make this fucking person, who sure you think is weird, make this fucking person feel comfortable? Isn't that the deal? Isn't that what we're all supposed to do? Just make each other feel comfortable. Just be cool with one another. No, this guy took it as an opportunity to go, I'm going to fucking be mean to this person. And everybody who likes people being mean to other people are going to love me because they're going to think I'm a mean person. Just being fucking mean. You're being mean to be a fucking asshole to appeal to another group of fucking assholes. God damn, I'll be happy when this era of the asshole is finally fucking put down. It's coming. It is coming. Kevin's got kind of an alternate view on this. Kevin says, no, if you see someone being bullied, you step in and shut down that nonsense. Otherwise, it empowers bullies. I happen to agree with you in private. This was done for cameras. I agree with you. Like if that was done, like if we were out in a bar with a group of people and somebody was like, hey, what does this dude want? And she's like, I'm not a dude, I'm a man. At that point, yeah, someone should go, dude, fucking, why are you being a dick? You're being a dick. At that point, yeah, this was all done for cameras. This was all, I'm not saying it was staged. I think that it was probably staged on the part of the Republican chairman who introduced her as a man. I think he knew he was going to do that. He's like, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go viral. This is going to be great. People don't know my name. They got to start knowing my name. They got to start knowing that I hate fucking weirdos. Which oddly enough makes him a fucking weirdo, because if that's what his motivating factor is, I want to be glorified as somebody who hates. Anyway, I think he was playing on his part, and then I think that the idiot Democrat saw an opportunity to oh, now I'm going to be the white knight. So it wasn't planned on his part. That's why he didn't know what to say. That's why he devolved into, sir, have you no decency? Which is, of course, something that, oh my God, what was his name? It was said to Joe McCarthy during the communist Hollywood hearings. Oh, it's a great name. It's like one of those great 1950s, 1960s political names that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. Like Aldous is like Aldous Grimstable. When he turned to Joe McCarthy and said, "Have you at long last no decency, sir?" That's exactly what the dude said yesterday. He was caught off guard. He had nothing to say. He's a con man. So he went in and he stole the line from Estes Kefauver? Is that it? Is it Estes Kefauver? Have you no decency, sir? I don't know. Somebody look it up. It was somebody with a weird name. All right, there you go. So that's our government at work. How great. I will always put up a comment that says I'm exactly right. Where are we? I've lost my track. I've lost my track because I'm ranting. I'm feeling saucy. Seriously, man, I lost my shit in here. I almost went live when Trump was doing the fucking driveway Tesla commercial. I was going nuts here in the studio. All by myself. Shooting Nerf hoops. I'm like, fuck this! It's not good. And if it doesn't bother you, there's something wrong with you. There is something wrong with you! If you didn't see that and go, oh, that's fucking so gross from the White House, that is such a fucking gross misfucking use of the power of the presidency to fucking juice Tesla stock, to say the least. It's probably illegal, but they can do whatever they want now, because whenever somebody points out that that's fucking illegal, all they say is, no, it's not. And then it turns out that it's not. Why? Because everything's a fucking construct. Everything's illegal until somebody says, yeah, no, it's not. And then somebody decides not to prosecute. It's not illegal. Everything is a motherfucking construct. This guy is proving that. That was illegal. You can't artificially inflate the stock price of a fucking company simply because they're donating $100 million to your campaigns. What don't you people understand? That's highly illegal. That seems fine to me. It's a quid pro quo. Yeah, quid pro quo is illegal. You fucks! That's a quid pro quo. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to calm down. I promise you, we've got a whole bunch of stupid stories that we're going to get to. There's a whole bunch of less. But I just feel like, man, we are in a moment in this country where growing pains and, like, you know, the last kick of resistance, and I don't know what's going on, but it's got me all fucking tied up. Got Trump celebrating this great ceasefire deal, and then 10 hours later, Putin drops a bunch of bombs on Ukraine, violating. Basically, that's Putin going, yeah, fuck your deal. Remember 2 weeks ago when Zelensky was in the White House and he said, yeah, you can't count on Putin. He's not going to abide by any ceasefire. Remember when he said that? And then they turned it into, you're not thankful enough? Well, guess what? Putin fucking bombed Ukraine last night after earlier in the day, Ukraine and the United States agreed to terms of a ceasefire as long as Russia was cool with it. And Russia responded, they're not cool with it. So fuck. Stop acting like it was Zelensky. He was right. He deals with Putin. For some fucking reason, we are all in on supporting Putin and trusting what he says. For some reason. I have fucking real thoughts on what those reasons are, but now is not the time. God damn, I want to just fast forward 20 years into the future so that we know everything that is happening now, because in 20 years we will. So I always tell my kid, man, here's what I want you to remember about this time. When you are 50, I want you, looking back with the perspective of the age you grew up in, I want you at 50 to remember what adults in your life were on what side at this time. I'm very proud of the way history is going to depict where I was. Fucking questioning it all. Takes a lot out of me. It takes a lot out of me. I don't like politics. But you know what I like even less? People behaving badly. And that's what this is. I don't know about the nuts and bolts and the, sign here and, this provision and, House bill, this or that or the other thing. I don't know anything about that stuff. I know how people treat each other. People are just acting like fucking assholes and we're all okay with it now. Peter says, really appreciate what little political stuff you do rant on is exactly what we... I hope so. I got to be honest. I do like politics. People who know me in my private life know that I like politics. What I don't like doing is broadcasting politics because it's not fun. Because it's too embedded in with who people are, right? You insult someone's politics, and now you're not just insulting their choice, you're insulting like who they are in their moral, soul. So I hate that. But I do like to comment on human behavior, and we are so bad right now. The American people, we are just really bad right now. We're picking fucking fights with Canada. Why? Because we're afraid to pick a fight with the people we should be picking fights with? So Canada, because we got to look tough. And, nobody wants to look tough to Russia. That is like, no. Well, I trust Putin. I think that he's a good dude. Some fucking reason we ain't doing that. Canada is who we're fucking with. The UK is who we're going to fuck with. France is who we're going to fuck with. I don't get it, man. I don't know what we're doing. There's no reason for any of this. All right, let's go. Let's move on to other things to talk about. Here's a happy story. Measles. Fucking measles. It ain't going away. Trust me, we're going to get into some silly stories coming up here. Like a porn star who's fucking her way through spring break. That's fun. We'll get into that. Texas measles outbreak grows while New York and California report new cases. That's right, folks. So since last we checked in on the measles, I believe it was 150 cases here in Texas last Friday. Here it is Wednesday. We're now well over 200 cases nationwide, and said has spread to 12 states. Los Angeles County in California, Suffolk County in New York, and Howard County in Maryland detected their first confirmed cases of measles this year, while Oklahoma reported 2 possible cases. The spread of the highly infectious disease comes as outbreak of more than 200 cases has continued to grow in Texas, and as the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warned that healthcare workers and potential travelers to, quote, be vigilant ahead of spring and summer travel. All right. Measles are back. Can we get polio back? Maybe that's a goal for 2026. Maybe we get polio back. A 5-year-old in Virginia has been diagnosed with polio. Okay, let's talk about this porn star. This skanky ass hoe. What the fuck? You know what? That's what she is. This is a skanky ass hoe. Okay. Good Lord. Bugs, you shouldn't subjugate women that way. I don't. I have immense respect for women. When a woman is impressive, she is as impressive and as due to my respect as any man. I was raised by a woman who's one of the most impressive women you ever meet. Don't tell me that I'm a misogynist, because I'm not. Both my ex-wives are infinitely better than me. I know that. But don't tell me. But this is a whore, okay? This is a chick who is a whore. Her name is Bonnie Blue. Right? She's a porn star. I don't know who she is. But here's what she's famous for. A couple of months ago, she fucked like 1,500 guys in one day. Yeah. That's what she's famous for. So excuse me, I'm calling her a whore. Good Lord. All right. Her name is Bonnie Blue. Here's the story. And she's not even, she's the kind of porn star that has to do it with 1,500 guys. You know what I mean? Like there are some porn stars where you're like, she can pretty much direct her entire career. She is hot enough that she can just do what she's comfortable with, and she's going to be a big star. And then you start getting these like skanky chicks who are like, again, like New Jersey. They're like New Jersey sevens, but then they get into porn And they get makeup and hair and all that, and all of a sudden they're like a porn 8.5. That's who this chick is. There are like women in porn. There have been women in porn over the years that I've seen pictures of and thought to myself, "What? Why is this chick doing porn? I don't understand." I mean, she doesn't have to do porn. She must really not have a problem with sexuality. She must just be like, "This is an easy way for me to make money," because this girl is pretty enough. She doesn't have to do porn. She could just go down to the local bank in her town, sit in the lobby, and I promise you the president will come out and handle her business personally. She'll be dating him in 2 weeks, and she'll be married to the guy who owns the bank in her town. Right? You ever look at a hot porn star and go like, why is she doing this? She could totally marry a guy who owns 5 car dealerships. She could be totally comfortable in life. I understand why she has to do porn. Bonnie Blue looks like one of these skanky chicks who totally needed to do porn. Bonnie Blue, spring break. Snaps of poolside carnage after, quote, "I'll take care of your son's vow." All right, so here's this chick. Look, she's not even hot. She just looks like, ugh. Maybe we'll look at some other pictures. All right, there she is. That's Bonnie Blue. Apparently she does this every year. Again, she's famous for having sex with 1,500 men in 24 hours just a couple of weeks ago. Can't believe she's walking. Maybe that's why she's being carried on the shoulders. She's apparently doing this thing on Instagram where she is meeting up with boys and then having sex with them because she's a porn star and that's what she does. All right, let's get into the story. Hold on, I'll show you the story as we put her picture up there. Wild Bonnie Blue spring break snaps have revealed poolside carnage after she's promised moms that she'd take care of their sons. The controversial adult star has once again returned to Cancun, Mexico to create content while bedding partying students from the United States. It's a stunt similar to the one that truly started her meteoric rise to worldwide fame. I've never heard of her before this. Media in the perv community, maybe. She's like fucking super famous to like worldwide perverts. Never heard of her. It's a stunt similar to the one that truly started her meteoric rise to worldwide fame last year. But she isn't going for numbers this time. Because remember, she had sex with like 1,000 dudes. But she isn't going for numbers this time, and she doesn't really need to. God, this is such bad writing. This is the fucking Daily Star. This is like a bottom rung British tabloid, and I am certain that the people they hired to write this are borderline illiterate. This makes no fucking sense. They write magazines, tabloids like this. They intentionally write for stupid people because they expect stupid people to read in a certain way. And this is an example of that. It's a stunt similar to the one that truly started her meteoric rise to worldwide fame last year, but she isn't going for numbers this time, and she doesn't really need, having already secured the World War. See, that fucking doesn't make any sense. Where's the punctuation? Anyway, she fucked a bunch of guys, 12 hours, she banged 1,057 dudes. Now she's in Cancun. Follow her on Instagram, Bonnie Blue, see if she's banging your kid. Because that's what she's doing. Whatever. Any other pictures? Any other good pictures of her? See, I mean, she's not hot, man. I'm sorry, like, she's not. Breasts aren't great. She's stupid. All right, let's see any other pictures. All right, there she is. She looks good from that angle, I guess. She looks like, what's this, like some Logan Paul looking dude? He's like, yeah, everybody's trying to look like the Paul brothers now. Ugh. God, she's so gross. All right, there she is. There. All right. Let's look at this, right? What's going on here? This is not supermodel, super hot porn star. Again, this is like a New Jersey 7. She's what's with all of these bones? She's got this body sucks. What is going on here? Look at the little boobs. Ugh, no, thank you. No, thank you. Bonnie Blue. She's got bones and stuff sticking out. Yeah. I mean, I'd date her. Like, she's like pretty enough for me to date. Like, I would be so lucky. But if we're talking about like porn stars that are supposed to meet the average man's level of what a fantasy sexual encounter is? No. She looks like a waitress at Chili's. She looks like a cute waitress at Chili's. There you have it. Bonnie Blue is banging her way through Cancun. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about this. Let's give a moment to this dude. Okay, this guy is awesome. Here, I want to play this for you. He died yesterday. This is a guy. I never met him, but I had a friend who worked for him. I had a friend in Chicago who worked for this guy, and he used to tell me like just legendary stories about this dude. Yesterday, a guy by the name of Junior Bridgman died. Junior Bridgman died. Now, you might not know who Junior Bridgman was. He was an NBA player. He played in the NBA. I think he was like a top 5 pick in 1975, 1976. Played most of his career with the Milwaukee Bucks. Kind of a Milwaukee Bucks legend. Played with teams with Sidney Moncrief and was involved in the trade that sent Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to the Lakers. He's the Bucks sent Jabbar to the Lakers, and in return they got a whole bunch of guys. Junior Bridgman, most notable. Now, why is Junior Bridgman being talked about? He's just some rando NBA guy who died yesterday. Well, it's because he was one of them dudes. Because Junior Bridgman, in addition to being an NBA player, was one of them dudes. Born in Gary, Indiana, in like abject poverty. Went to college playing basketball. He grew up 6'5", got to go to Louisville, became a national star at Louisville, was drafted, as I say, high in the 1975 draft. But here's the thing that he did. He never made more than $350,000 a year, which, by the way, isn't like a low-rung salary during the time he played. He was a well-played. He was sixth man on a number of teams. He's considered one of the great sixth men in the history of the NBA, certainly of that era. He's considered the guy who really solidified that as an important position that teams were looking to fill. But Junior Bridgman, although he never made more than $350,000 a year in his career, he was a fucking smart guy. We talk about Magic Johnson. You talk about how Magic Johnson built this entire empire, based on, him being Magic Johnson and a basketball player. Junior Bridgman did the exact same thing without one ever making the kind of seed money that Magic Johnson had. Magic Johnson was paid absurd amounts of money. So that helps when you're trying to start your after basketball business. Junior Bridgman never made that. He never made more than $350,000 a year. Also, Junior Bridgman wasn't a star. Magic Johnson was a superstar. That smile, he was on camera. Everybody knew who Magic Johnson was. Nobody knew who fucking Junior Bridgman was. So after being in Milwaukee for a couple of years, he got interested in the idea of franchising. So he bought a Wendy's. It was like the first thing. He's like a 28-year-old NBA player in Milwaukee. He buys a Wendy's. And like Wendy's weren't even a big thing yet. Wendy's were just kind of starting up. Anyway, long story short, he would come to own over 1,000 restaurants, Junior Bridgman. He was, I believe, the first retired athlete to cross the $1 billion mark. He would become a billionaire based on all of his restaurants and other things. He got involved in construction in the Milwaukee and in Chicago area. And then he would go on to own the Milwaukee Bucks. He was a minority owner, but certainly up there, one of the more high-profile owners. I think the Haslams owned the Bucks, but it was Junior Bridgman, who was sort of the guy up there in Milwaukee who everybody looked at as just an incredible fucking dude. Here's Shaq and Charles Barkley, all right, talking about Junior Bridgman, somebody who you guys don't know, but every NBA player, they know who he is, because he is like super respected. All right, here you go. Junior Bridgman died yesterday, 69 years old, I think.
10 richest athletes. It was a Time article. I was like, motherfucker, I'm number 2. I ain't fucking with Mike, but shit, I'm number motherfucker.
All right, so basically here, it jumps in the middle. What Shaq is talking about is he's got a list from Forbes magazine of the wealthiest former athletes. And he's opening it up as he's walking through an airport, and he's going, okay, I'm probably not number 1. That's probably Michael Jordan, right? So that's the context. That's what Shaq's talking about. He's talking about looking at a list of the wealthiest athletes in sport.
I'm walking through the airport and I saw the 10 richest athletes. It was a Time article. I was like, motherfucker, I'm number 2. I ain't fucking with Mike, but shit, I'm number motherfucking 2. Magic may be number 2. So fucking, I'm number 3. So I look at the list. I'm like, Mike, fuck, Magic, fuck. And then Junior Bridgman, 600. I'm like, who the fuck is Junior Bridgman? So I'm like, 800 million.
Probably being the first billionaire athlete, to be honest with you, for a guy who didn't make a ton of money.
That's what's so impressive.
Yeah, like,
and didn't have the name.
Didn't have the name to learn how to handle business. And he's probably got 500 to 1,000 restaurants now. And like, does it so low key. Does it so low key. Like every time I'm around here, I try to pick his brain.
Right.
Because the one, like, it's different now. Because these guys make so much money.
Yeah.
I say, back in our day, I says, dude, and I'm not poo-pooing on this either. I want to make it clear, because when I say it, it's gonna sound stupid. The most money I made was $5 million. That was my last year.
Right.
I says, now that's below the minimum. I says, to be a businessman in our day and become a billionaire, you are great at business.
Right.
You are great at business.
And he wasn't a name. People wanted to attach themselves to Magic.
Yes.
People wanted to attach themselves to Mike.
Yes.
He was Junior Bridgman.
Just a great businessman and a good dude. Here's to me is one of the greatest stories ever. And if I was the NBA, I would bring him in every year to my teams, and say, guys, because what people don't understand, everybody on an NBA team or NFL team ain't making a lot of money.
True.
Or ain't gonna play a lot of years.
10, 15.
The average, in both sports, the average year is about 4 years. Those are guys who need a Junior Bridgman.
All right, there you have it. The great Junior Bridgman, somebody that wasn't well known, but holy shit, he did it right. All right, I lost my eagle again. I don't like losing my eagle background. There we go. Look at that shit. Look at it. It stopped in the middle again. Why is this? Fuck that. We'll figure out a way to get I got to make that static and permanent on there. I don't know how to do that. It's a download. You got to download something. I don't know. Peter just randomly throwing out basket. I'm not doing basketball stuff. Not yet. Not yet. Maybe Monday. Here's a story about another one of you responsible gun owners. Oh, I love the responsible gun owners. There ain't no such thing as, remember, we used to hear that what we need responsible gun ownership. I've never known anybody who owns a gun who's a responsible gun owner. And they always do stupid shit with it, shoving it under the seat in their car, putting it in a case, but it's not locked. It's fucking, there you go, responsible gun owner. Here's a responsible gun owner who likes to sleep with his gun. Imagine the level of cowardice that you must live with every moment to sleep with a gun in your bed. That's how scared you are. That's how somebody's gonna come in. Now I got a dog, right? So I got a dog. My dog is gonna let me know if anybody is coming in. That dog's gonna wake me up long before anybody gets to the foot of my bed. So I don't need a gun for that. I'm gonna have time to get up and go and get a gun. But seriously, imagine the level of fucking pussy that you are if you sleep with a gun. Dog shoots man sleeping with gun. Paw got stuck in the trigger. What fucking doing? Responsible gun ownership. Yeah, just sleeping with the gun. We charge the dog? How does this work? How do we do this? An American dog owner was shot by his pet after it jumped on his bed and set off a loaded gun, police said Wednesday. The man from Memphis, of course he is, of course he's from Tennessee. The man from Memphis, Tennessee was asleep beside his female partner when he's sleeping in bed with a gun. Fucking gun fetishists. You people are fucking weird. You got a chick in bed with you and just what the gun is the gun between you. God, I just can't get over that. I sleep with a gun under my pillow. You're a coward. You're a coward. You're fucking shaking in your boots, this world. Boy, oh boy. They really got you ginned up. Your head is fucking nuts. You do realize, none of you, I'm talking to everybody listening right now. You do realize none of you are going to be the victim of a home invasion in your lifetime. Not a fucking one. None of you. Is it possible? Well, sure. The world is fucking crazy. It's possible for a plane to fall out of the sky and land on you. But none of you are going to have need for that gun that's under your pillow. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I know you live in this fear where the Manson family comes back and, you fucking get into a gun battle at the top of the steps with them. I know that's your fantasy. That ain't fucking happening. It happens to some people, but it's so fucking rare that I am comfortable saying to you, you will never be the victim of a home invasion. You won't. It's not going to happen. You know what else is going to happen? Your house ain't going to burn down. It's not. I mean, it might. It's possible. It could. But let's be honest. You're not going to lose your house in a fire. It's not going to burn down. Your house isn't going to get hit by a tornado. I mean, it could, but it's probably not going to happen. All of these things. Sure, everything is possible, but it's probably not going to happen. Sleeping with a gun. All right, the man from Memphis, Tennessee, got shot when the dog, a 1-year-old pit bull, of course it is. Of course, it's always a pit bull. Had to be a pit bull. I'm a pit bull lover. I love pit bulls. I think that they are the most, I think the Staffordshire Terrier is the most maligned breed of dog on the planet. And I have been around a lot of them. Earlier in my life, like in my 20s and 30s, I didn't know many pit bulls. But when I moved to Texas, I started to get to know pit bulls. They're incredible. They're like the nicest dog. I can't see. CeeLo, my dog now is half Staffy, half Catahoula, known as a Hooly Bully, which is a Catahoula and a Staffordshire Bull Terrier mix. But they are just... I know CeeLo's a fucking dick. She's mean. And you're like, well, Pugs, you're talking about pit bulls being nice, but your dog is mean. That's the Catahoula. It's the Catahoula in CeeLo that is making her nuts, not the pit bull. I think the reason she's still alive is because she's got just enough pit bull in her to make her calm down, and like be normal from time to time. But Catahoulas are insane dogs. You can't even keep them in the house. They're just nuts. That's why Hooly Bullies are popular, because something happens when you mix a Catahoula and a Staffordshire and, whatever. Anyway, it sucks that the dog that shot the owner in Tennessee turned out to be a pit bull, because I don't think pit bulls need the bad press. The dog, a 1-year-old pit bull named Oreo, got his paw stuck in the trigger guard and ended up hitting the trigger. The police incident report did not specify the type of weapon fired and recorded the incident as accidental injury. While gun violence is prolific in the United States, cases of animals shooting humans are rare. Oh, you don't say. Oh, you don't say. That's not happening every day. An animal isn't picking up a handgun and shooting a human. That's rare. Seriously, think about that. Somebody who makes money to wrote that sentence. While gun violence is prolific in the United States, cases of animals shooting humans are rare. You don't say. You don't say. 2 years ago, a German Shepherd shot and killed a 30-year-old man in Kansas after it stepped on a hunting rifle. That's accidental. Like that I can get. That's, again, you're probably not to the letter of the law being a responsible gun owner, but you're out there, you put the gun down and the dog is just like, darp, darp, just walking around. I could see a big dog stepping on that and then you being dead. So there you go. 2 years ago, a German Shepherd shot and killed a 30-year-old man in Kansas. In 2018, a 51-year-old man from Iowa was shot in the leg by his pit bull. Another pit bull. Come on, man. Let's just chalk it up to pit bulls being really popular and not this is a function of their breed. They will, if a pit bull, the problem with a pit bull is they're loyal, they're really lovely. But if you leave a gun unattended, that pit bull will use that gun. Let's see, anything else? Local news station Fox 13 in Memphis cited the Tennessee victim's girlfriend, who wasn't named, as saying that she was sleeping when the gun went off. The dog is a playful dog, and he likes to jump around and stuff like that, and it just went off, she reportedly said. Her lesson from the incident? Keep the safety on. Is that it? That's it? That's all you learned? Maybe not have the gun in the bed. Huh? Maybe, whatever. You know, fucking gun pervs. Gun pervs, you can't have a conversation with them because they're just totally like, they fucking jerk off to their gun. You know, it's just like a sexual thing to them. Fucking weird. That's weird. Or whatever. Sleeping with your gun. All right, how about this one? Now, this was a story that I first saw on Friday of last week, and I kind of ignored it. We didn't get to it. I was like, yeah, we don't really need to do that story. But it's come back around. It's the story of this dude who was fired from Starbucks for being straight. Which I got to tell you, I certainly have never encountered a masculine man working at Starbucks. I haven't. Neither of you. Neither of you. It's always some skinny, eyeliner wearing, you know, angsty kid, you know. So this is an interesting story. So apparently, I also saw that Saturday Night Live did this story. SNL did this story on Weekend Update. So here we go. And it's back today. It's back today because there's an update. Fired Starbucks manager claims that he faced egregious discrimination for being heterosexual. Christopher Thevenstens, this is a crazy last name. I'm going to try and pronounce the last name. Theven Easens. Thev, here's the last name. Thev, Thev, followed by A-N. So it's Thevan, Esan. I don't know what that name is. Thevanasan. Christopher Thevanasan. Let's just go with Thevanasan. That's a made-up name. It's not his real name. Christopher T. His straightness was weaponized against him, says his attorney. Let's see what was happening here. How did this all come to be? A longtime Starbucks manager is suing the coffee house chain for discrimination, retaliation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. He's accusing his bosses at the coffee giant of ignoring the extreme and outrageous harassment, or do you say harassment? He claims he suffered on the job because he digs chicks. Christopher T., a heterosexual, gender-typical man. Hey, join the club. I'm a heterosexual, gender-typical, I think. Is that what we're called? Do I have to update my gender-typical? I've never heard that. Do I have to update my business cards? Do I have to gender-typical? Christopher T., a heterosexual, gender-typical man in Rochester, New York, claims supervisors at his local Starbucks treated him in a, quote, materially different manner than employees who were, quote, not heterosexual and or gender typical men. So straight dude running the Starbucks is claiming that his regional managers didn't treat him the way they treat gay Starbucks workers. He's claiming that he was treated differently and it's because he's straight. I think he's probably right. We'll get into this. Christopher T., a heterosexual, gender-typical man from Rochester, New York, claims that his location treated him in a materially different manner than the employees who were not heterosexual. The suit, which was served on Starbucks in late February, describes the 47-year-old Christopher T. as, quote, a model employee who performed the essential functions of his employment in an exemplary fashion. However, it contends his LGBTQ plus co-workers created a, quote, hostile work environment for Christopher T. due to his gender typicality and sexual orientation, and that higher-ups within the company allegedly fired him when he complained about the way he was treated for being a hetero. Reached by phone on Thursday, Christopher Tavazian a person of color who now works at a bank. Oh, he's a black dude. That's not, I wouldn't have gone black dude with that name. That name's a little bit too Eastern Europe. Maybe Turk. I don't know. It's a weird, the Van Nazian. That's not a black dude name. It's not a black dude name. Reached by phone on Thursday, the Vanzian, a person of color who now works at a bank. Oh, I guess person of color doesn't mean black. He could be Turk. That could be Turk. Say he's a Turk. Part of the old Ottoman. He now works at a bank. He said he was reluctant to comment before consulting with his attorneys who filed the lawsuit on his behalf. In a subsequent call, attorney Flynn, that's the attorney, told The Independent that he believes the Vazian's heterosexuality had been weaponized against him. Management was indifferent to his complaints, Flynn said, claiming Starbucks workers in the store and surrounding area were attempting to drive out their straight colleagues. The Vazian has now, quote, moved on, according to his lawyer, asserting that the experience took a toll on his client personally and professionally. Messages seeking comment. Anyway, whatever. The lawsuit's going through. We're going to see. So let's talk about what went on here. Can we establish first and foremost that Starbucks is very gay? Very gay. I don't have a problem with it. I like Starbucks. I like going to Starbucks and holding meetings, but it's very gay. Not a lot of F-250s in the parking lot of a Starbucks. You know, it's very gay and it's very yoga mom. It's very gay and very yoga mom. That is what Starbucks is. Yoga moms, gay dudes. People who work there are also a very interesting bouillabaisse of curious life choices. I mean, you've got anybody who doesn't fit into any established column working at Starbucks. You want a person with a horn on their head? There was a Starbucks in Chicago where a dude had a horn on his head. Yeah, and it looked like it was permanent. Didn't ask him because he also had a bull ring through his nose. That's fucking crazy. All the girls are lesbians. Every girl who's ever worked at a Starbucks is a lesbian. That's a fact. You can Google it. And a lot of the dudes are gay. And I don't know, obviously, if they're gay or not, but they all seem gay adjacent. There are no masculine dudes who work at Starbucks. All right, so we've set that scene. We've all been to Starbucks. By the way, all of this, and I haven't fleshed out Adam. I was really, really waiting for Adam to jump into the chat room with, Starbucks is not gay. Yeah, Starbucks is pretty gay. Get over it. They make good coffee. I like their coffee. It's very gay. Food sucks at Starbucks, though. Food sucks. Don't ever buy food at Starbucks. That's like, $15 for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That is like going to be, I promise you, the worst peanut butter and jelly sandwich you've ever had. All right, so let's say we got Christopher T. He's the manager of the Starbucks there in Rochester, New York, and let's say he's straight. Like, let's say he's as straight as Peter. All he can think about is the NCAA basketball tournament. I don't think that dude's going to fit in with all the people that are working there anyway, okay? So already we're talking about a guy who's a little bit different. Do I think that it is possible that a cadre of fucking, Starbucks people might have been like making it a difficult place for him to work? Absolutely. Gay people are petty. Gay dudes and Starbucks workers, they're very fucking petty people. They have talk shit on you behind your back. They're like, I totally imagine that because this dude was straight, that the gay people there all felt like it was perfectly okay for them to make him feel uncomfortable about it. And now he's got a lawsuit. And I got to be honest, he's probably going to win this lawsuit because I think that he probably was unduly harassed in the workplace. And I believe that Starbucks corporate probably went, the straight guy's pissed about all the gay guys. We should probably get rid of the straight guy. That's probably what Starbucks did. They're like, whatever, what's a straight guy doing running one of our coffee shops anyway? Does he at least have a horn on his head? And they're like, no, really? Get rid of him. But yeah, I have no doubt that he was. Now, it is kind of funny, right? Because I think instinctively when I first read this story, I was like, oh, this guy's an asshole. This guy's just an asshole. He's like, I'm a straight guy. I'm going to fuck with fags. Is like that wasn't his motivation, though. As it turns out, you look at it And you're like, oh no, this guy was actually kind of fucked around. They were mean to him. They picked on him, and he's the boss. Anyway, there you go. Oh, they also, oh, okay, yeah. So let's give you the full. I can't believe I was about to move on without this. This is the other part of it. There were though some complaints about him from customers that the Starbucks corporate got said. Like apparently he was grumpy. He's grumpy, and I think straight guy grumpy. I don't think you can get away with that at a Starbucks. Like straight guy grumpy is like, what the fuck? What do you got a problem? You got a problem now? Really? Oh, your coffee's too warm. It's not hot enough. Oh, that's like straight guy asshole at Starbucks. I don't think you can get away with that. I think you can get away with like passive aggressive gay dude asshole. Like, oh, well, let's really get on that and fix that for you. Like, I think you can get away with that at Starbucks because I think you expect gay dudes to be catty and snarky. It's kind of, they're allowed to have that because we think that that's what they're like. But a straight guy, I don't think a straight guy can get away with being a straight guy asshole at Starbucks. So he probably got some complaints. It reminded me of Mocha Joe. You remember Mocha Joe? Mocha Joe from Curb Your Enthusiasm? Mocha Joe had absolutely no business being in the people business. But yet he was. He made a good cup of coffee and he couldn't seem to get along with anybody. Premise of Mocha Joe. Are you guys Curb Your Enthusiasm fans? So Mocha Joe opened up a coffee shop and Larry was friends with Mocha Joe. So Larry would go into the coffee shop and Larry had some complaints. And it turns out that Mocha Joe wasn't good at fielding customer complaints. So Larry and Mocha Joe got into it. So what did Larry do? Larry decided that he was going to destroy Mocha Joe. And so Larry rented the space in the strip mall right next to Mocha Joe's. And he opened up a place called Latte Larry's. Curb Your Enthusiasm is so funny. Larry just lived life as a dude with like, $500 million who just doesn't give a shit. If he's angry at Mocha Joe, he's going to fuck with Mocha Joe by opening an entire business. What did they call it? A spite business? He's like, I'm opening a spite business. I don't even care if it makes money, just as long as it takes money from Mocha Joe. There it is. The great Mocha Joe scene from Curb.
Mocha Joe's? Mocha Joe? I know a Mocha Joe. You want some coffee?
Sure.
Let's go in here.
Get a little latte.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.
Whoa!
Oh,
Blast
boy,
from the
oh,
past. Larry
Mocha
David.
Joe.
Wow. Long time no see, man. What are you doing here? What's your name?
Leon.
Leon. Nice to meet you.
This is unreal.
You believe it, huh? What can I get you guys?
I'll get you have scones?
Yeah, right there. They're beautiful.
Great, I'll have a scone and a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee and a scone. What about you, Leon?
Get a latte.
All right, one scone, a coffee, a latte. That's $11.50.
There you go. Keep the change.
Oh, thanks for the tip. Appreciate it. A latte and a coffee, please. Thank you.
It's a little soft.
What, scone?
Yeah, scones are supposed to be hard. This is like a muffin.
Well, not really. It's supposed to be fresh.
Yeah, fresh hard.
Well, that's a fresh scone.
I'm not quite sure you know what a scone is, Mocha Joe.
Oh, I know what a scone is.
Do you?
Yeah.
You may have a looser definition of scone than I do. I don't think it's really open to interpretation, though.
You want the scone or not?
Yeah, I'll keep the scone / muffin.
So you're gonna keep the scone?
Yeah, muffin. Yeah.
Enjoy the scone, Larry.
You got any Danishes?
No.
Fucking up.
Next.
All right.
Oh, my God.
Already a problem with the scone.
This table.
Wow.
You believe it?
No wobbly table.
Hey, Mocha Joe.
Yeah.
Check out this table.
Yeah?
It's a what? You got a wobbly table here.
Yeah, well, stop moving it.
Stop moving it. It's every time I lean on it, it's gonna move.
Well, put your foot on it like everybody else does.
I'm gonna sit with my foot on the table?
Yeah, that's how you hold it down. The floors are wobbly.
Mocha Joe, can I give you a little advice?
Yeah.
Mocha Joe.
Nobody likes a wobbly table. Fastest way to lose customers is with wobbly tables.
I got an uncle with a wobbly leg. I can't stand that motherfucker. Leaning on shit all the time.
Taste your coffee.
Cold.
Cold.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Mocha Joe,
What?
this is cold coffee.
Whoa, wait a second. That coffee
It's not cold.
Is your coffee
Your
cold?
coffee's hot, right?
Look, man, we don't want to be fucking haters right now, but this shit's cold. Can I get can I get a new cup?
No.
So you're not gonna give me a new cup?
No. Because that's a hot cup of coffee. It was hot when I gave it to you.
That's a hot cup of coffee?
It's a hot cup of coffee. It was hot when I
Would you
gave it to you.
stick your nose in a hot cup of coffee?
Why would you stick your nose in a
Because I
cup of
want to
coffee?
prove to you that it's cold coffee. Watch this. That's cold coffee.
That doesn't prove anything except
does.
that you're an old bald nut.
What did you say to me?
You heard me. Now get out, you old bald fuck.
With pleasure. You think I want to sit here with a wobbly table and drink cold black coffee?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, good. Get out.
Hey, Larry might be one or two of those things, but not all three.
Happy New Year, Larry.
Happy New Year, Mocha.
Ah, there you go. Mocha Joe. All right, what else do we have here? Let's see. Also, well, I don't want to do that yet. Look at us, half hour over. I'm giving you a full show today. Should we check in on free agency? All right, let's check in on NFL free. We'll end it with some free agency talk. One more time, I do want to remind you all, give a big hearty thank you to our executive producer of today's show, Peter. 2 days in a row. That is worthy of a pat on the back. Thank you. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is drop a little something in the Venmo and the Cash App. Keep this kind of talk radio going every day, noon, lifestyle, regular people talk since 2021. There you go. Thank you to Peter. All right, let's see what the latest is in free agency. What are the big deals? Talk about who's left as of right now. NFL free agency is kicked off with the legal negotiating window, which began at noon on Monday. Actual free agency goes into effect today at 3 p.m. Central Time, about 26 minutes from now. All of these deals will become official. Let's see here. Last couple of days, what have been the big deals? DK Metcalf to the Steelers. Quarterback Geno Smith to the Raiders. Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders. Geez, that's got to concern you. That's got to be CJ Stroud. I mean, when you think about what CJ Stroud was 2 years ago, and then think about what he was last year. There's real regression, real serious regression last year for CJ Stroud after an incredible rookie season. And now you're heading into his third year and you've dealt away Laramie Tunsil? What's going on there? That was a big one. Commanders. They steal Laramie Tunsil from protecting CJ Stroud. And now he's Jaden Daniels guy. That's a big one. Let's see here. Sam Darnold got himself $100 million. That's crazy. Here in Seattle, $100 million for Sam Darnold. I'm telling you, man, the greatest job in the history of the world is, he's a starter now, but the greatest job in the history of the world is NFL backup quarterback. Sam Darnold was a complete bust his entire career, everywhere he went. And then he goes to Minnesota. He gets in Kevin O'Connell's system, and he has, 10 really good games. Unfortunately, Sam Darnold completely shit the bed the last 2 games of the year. He reverted back to being Sam Darnold, and the Vikings didn't go anywhere. What happens a couple of months later? It's like we all forgot that he turned back into Sam Darnold at the end of the season last year. He gets $100 million to be Sam Darnold in Seattle. Oh, my God. I'm glad I'm not a Seahawks fan. That's going to be brutal. $100 million. You'd be better off. Well, maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't. Anyway, I don't like that one. Daniel Jones, he, of course, signed with the Colts. Justin Fields, he went with the Jets. God, I hope that works out for him, but I don't think it's going to. That is a dumpster fire of a team. Ronnie Stanley. All right. They brought him back, right? They brought him back. Was that it? Ronnie Stanley, is he back with the Ravens? I think it is. I don't know. Let me read this. Daniel Jones to the Jets. Oh, I'm sorry. Daniel Jones to the Colts. Edge rusher Khalil Mack re-signed with the Chargers. Ronnie Stanley re-signed with the Ravens. And Chris Godwin re-signed with the Bucs. There you go. Edge rusher Joey Bosa this morning was traded to Buffalo. Buffalo got rid of Von Miller. They just replaced one old expensive piece of garbage with another old expensive piece of garbage. Yeah, I'm not a big Joey Bosa fan. I don't think that's what they need there in Buffalo. Devontae Adams, he joins the Rams. We talked about that yesterday. Again, I think if anybody can squeeze a little bit of juice out of Devontae Adams, it's probably that coaching staff there in Los Angeles. Who else do we got? Josh Sweat went to the Cardinals. Milton Williams is now with the Patriots. Trades, cap savings. Aaron Rodgers, is that official? It is, right? We talked about that earlier. Aaron Rodgers is now with the Steelers. Cooper Kupp. Where's Cooper Kupp? Do we know? I don't know. All right, who's left? All right, let's look at who's left here. Cowboys getting absolutely hammered. I don't know if you watch any of the morning news shows. Both Fox Sports and ESPN's morning news shows took the Dallas Cowboys out to the woodshed. F- was, I believe, the grade that they were given for their off-season performance this year. F-. All right, who's still available? This is an interesting list. Okay, so based on, I don't know, this list has kind of changed. I don't know if this is, look at this. All right, so my God, who needs a receiver, right? Anybody want a receiver? Anybody want a receiver who 3 years ago would have been your unquestioned wide receiver one? There's a shit ton of these guys. Good for a wide receiver too. Like we just talked about Devontae Adams being swiped up by the Rams. He doesn't need to be wide receiver ones. He needs to be Devontae Adams. He needs to be a steady professional veteran option for Matthew Stafford. He needs to be a guy who can play the game of football at the wide receiver position. He doesn't need to be a playmaker or a game breaker anymore. Check out these names. These are some wide receivers who are out there. And if they can be got on like reasonable deals, they can be weapons. They can be weapons that you just roll out every once in a while. Check this out. Still available. Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Lockett. Those are all wide receivers. What team? What? Hey, any team needs a $25 million wide receiver 3? 25. That's a little much, I know. But I mean, we're talking like Stephon Diggs is gonna want a certain amount of money. Keenan Allen, I would love for the Bears to get Keenan Allen back, and they still might. But let's see what the market does. Let's see. Amari Cooper, you're telling me Amari Cooper couldn't be a great wide receiver 3 for some team? He doesn't have to be out there on the field the whole time. You design special plays for special players, and everyone that I just mentioned to you is a special player. Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Lockett. They can all be had. They're all still out there. What do the Cowboys need? The Cowboys went and got garbage at running back, right? They've done absolutely nothing. Could they use one of those guys? Bring back Amari. Come on, let's do it. We got quarterbacks out there. Who's looking for a quarterback? We still got Russell Wilson. He's out there in the wind. And Jameis Winston. He's out there in the wind. I don't believe Russell Wilson is still a starter. I think that the last couple of years of his steady decline, even though moments of flare up, because he's Russell Wilson. He's good. He can do things every now and again. Can he do it with the consistency that you need to be a real team challenging for a title? I don't think so. I don't think Russ has it anymore. So if we're talking backups, I would love Jameis Winston as a backup. My Chicago Bears, we need a veteran presence to be backing up Caleb Williams. We need a veteran. We've got Tyson Bagent. He's 1 year older than Caleb Williams. And he's got no experience. He's played 4 games. He's 2-2 in his NFL career. He's our backup. Let's bring in Jameis. Here's the other thing. Jameis Winston's a good dude. Jameis Winston is a really good human being. We've seen this over the years of Jameis being fun, Jameis being decent, Jameis doing the right thing. Jameis Winston. I want Jameis Winston. All right. Who else is available out there in free agency? Cowboys interested in Von Miller? God, I hope not. Because if that guy has proven nothing over the last 2 years, it's that he's done. He's done, and he's hurt all the time. And Who else we got out there? Matthew Judon is still out there on the market. You need edge rushers. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 edge rushers to choose from. Von Miller, Matthew Judon, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Zadarius Smith are all out there for the taking. Not a one of these guys are a 3-down edge. They're all special package and rotate in, but if you can get them for a proper amount of money, I don't know. Some of these guys are going to be expensive just because of their names. Matthew Judon was a big get last year for the Atlanta Falcons when he moved over from the Patriots. And I know that he was a big get because my Bears were in on the Judon trade. The Bears were trying to get Matthew Judon to play for the Bears. And when we didn't get him, when we lost him to the Atlanta Falcons, it was like, oh, shit, that sucks. Well, no, he kind of sucked. He wasn't great, and now he's a free agent that nobody wants to touch. Matthew Judon. So I don't know. All right, Matthew Judon, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zadarius Smith. Those are your edges. Tight end, how about Evan Ingram? Has he got any ball left in him? I think he probably does. Cam Robinson at offensive tackle, Tyron Smith at offensive tackle, Jedrick Willis Jr. offensive tackle. All three of those dudes are done. That's why they're still there. And then we got a couple of cornerbacks in Kendall Fuller and Stephon Gilmore and safety Justin Simmons. All right, those are the best of what's left in NFL free agency. Like I said, I'll take, for my Bears, I'll take Jameis Winston as Caleb's backup. I think that would be a good, nice, secure thing to have there. And that's it. We can move on. Cowboys, though. Cowboys got absolutely hammered. They got, I mean, everybody was hammering them. I know my 15-year-old son is not happy with what's going on with the Cowboys. He's very, I hate this. I hate it. I'm like, yeah, I know. Peter's leaving. He's going to go devote the rest of his afternoon to college basketball. He's going to see us here tomorrow. What is Rob Bartaw? Rob's like, he will again. He will what? Who? I don't know what he will again is in reference to. All right, guys, that's it. We're done. We're out of show. I got nothing else. I mean, I do have other things, but I also have other things outside of this live stream that I need to accomplish today. So we'll look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's Design District. This is The Rant, daily talk radio for normal people. One more time, thank you so much to our executive producer today. His name is Peter. Peter was the big tipper yesterday. If you guys want to help out the show and keep us on the air, encourage this kind of talk radio, non-political, non-divisive. Although we got into some politics today, if we're being honest. We're non-political in the realm of, I'm pretty clear about not liking Trump and thinking that he's a con man and probably bad for this country, but I don't want to talk about it. So that's how non-political works. Yeah, Mark, Sam the mailman. I need Sam the mailman in my life. I got to talk to Sam. Hi, Sam. Sam's in the chat room. I got to talk to you, Sam. I got to call you. I got something that I could use your help on. Something. I got a project. Got something. And Sam would be great for it. All right. Other than that, I'm done with you people. I got to go. I got stuff to do. But I love you. And do with that information what you will.